Believe it or not, I don't have my my shotgun sound effect on this new iMac. I can't find it. My whole soundboard, somehow the settings got erased, so we have no sound effect. I have a very bare bones set of stuff here. I don't care. Hot shit. But, you know, the most important sound effect starts now. Everybody, welcome to the Nobody Likes Onions podcast. In a little bit of a weird vibe. Got off to a little bit of a weird start here today, and we are dealing with some new equipment, some rewiring of stuff. I can already tell you I don't like how quick the music comes back after the ducking on that. I don't like that quick return. And I need it to fade back in a little slower. That's a little too tight for my tastes. We'll fix it in post. Thanks for coming by, kids. Thank you so much for joining us on a very important, what is today? Wednesday. We got some new stuff going on in here. We got it all rewired. New iMac is here. It's fucking great. I had no idea. You know, you get using your computer for so long. Even my MacBook Pro is like 2 years old. It's not ancient. You know what I mean? But then you use something like this, and my Lord, like you're doing 9 other things in the background while you just do something else faster than you've ever done it before. It's just great. Rendering videos super fast. It can drive like 3 other displays. It's fantastic. And people give me shit. Look, I don't want to get shit about getting the old iMac. Patrick, you got the old iMac design. It's the old, is this a sex advice show? Absolutely. Please stick around. This is a confrontational show. DJ Twilight, thank you so much for asking. What we do here is actually lure people into the chat room, call up their partners live, and find out what they're doing wrong with that dick. with that dick. See, we don't even have the sound effects we used to anymore. This used to do something when I pressed it. Now nothing. So I don't know what's going on, but we've lost all ability to do anything here. Everything's been rewired, but the most important thing is, hold on, my MacBook Pro lasted 10 years, can't be updated, but still works. That's great. If everybody could just tell me how your computers are doing, that'd be great. This show is about me, so fuck off. No. But people, you can give me all the shit you want about getting the old iMac. I look at it as, you know, they've perfected this design over years. And also, I like the Intel. Here, I can't believe you bought an Intel Mac. Like, fuck off, you trolls. I don't need this shit. I got podcasts to make fun of today. But also, yeah, I do like the idea of once a new, in like 3 years when the warranty is out on this, I will switch over and we'll get the new hot shit, the new Macs on the Apple Silicon, and then I'm sorry, we've got a fucking problem with the recording that is taxing. Will you give me 1 sec? Oh, thank you so much, man. That means so much right now when you subscribed again. That means so much to me and my people. Yeah, hold on. I've got a real drive issue. Give me 1 second, will you? This is so embarrassing. You know what I've got to do? I've got to switch the drive that this does something. I know this is very boring and not interesting to most people, but I will tell you this. It's important that we do it. It's important that things go right today. I want to be here for a long time today. I want to be here in a good mood. And to start this off with, arguing or misappropriation of city funds. You hear me, Landry? We will persevere. Hold on. Let me see if this fixed the issue we're having. It's a very small issue, but it was glaring and it could affect us going forward today. And I just don't have time for it. Great. CPU usage under 50%. We're back in fringe beer money that I'm not pissing away. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. We got that fixed. Oh, no. Now it's back to 100% again. How is this using 100% of CPU? I would love to know, actually. Because there's not much else going on than was going on before. I haven't really changed anything. Let me try this. Let me see if that is the issue. Here's the thing is, I can't believe I have a very small issue with my pants. Stop it, guys. Might as well have gotten a G5 at this point. Fuck you guys. I don't like that. Don't come in here. You guys have thrown me off today. And I don't like that. Now, why is Spotify open on this? Now, here's the thing. I've never had a problem with this PC ever. And it is saying it is maxed out on CPU usage now. So you tell me. You do the math. Do they know? It's like one computer knows when you get a new computer, and then it gets jealous, and it's like, you upgrade me. I mean, this is fucked. I've never had a problem with this thing. Probably thermal throttling at this point. Look, we just started the show. It's nice and cool in here. It will get hot as we go on, but I'm fine with that. I also do want to give a shout out to all the Vegas comics that have been following us on Instagram and on Facebook. Some two girls who run a podcast here called the Keeping It Casual Cast or something like that. They seem nice, I like people who are putting out content, except for Ty. Can you believe that Ty? We'll get into Ty. Let's just jump into it. As long as this is working, is the stream working, or has there been a problem for you guys? We did upgrade it to, I think we were doing 720 before, and now we're going 1080, which maybe that's it. Maybe it can't handle 1080 to Facebook and 1080 to wherever the fuck else it's doing it to. Bonsai Buddy is updating, probably. I don't fucking know. I'm done trying to figure out how computers work. Okie Koki. I don't know what that means either, but I don't like it. Oh, you're saying the stream's working fine. Great. It says the system CPU is at 100%. I don't know how long it can't do that for long, right? That can't be good for a computer. Like if we were going 100% all the time. That's got to be bad. Crazy, right? How long could you get a fat person to run in place their fastest? That can't be good. So I don't know. I don't know what to do about that, or if we should even do anything about it. Stream looks good, but I have a tiny lag. What does that mean? What did you it's stopping and buffering every once in a while? What does that mean? You have a lag? Everyone has a lag. That's called the internet. What if we do this? Do you guys think I should fuck with it, or should we just go? I love how every podcast now is us just figuring out how to make the podcast better. Thank you so much for joining my, does it have 2 video cards? Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, the onboard Intel graphics, I'm sure. Okay, so we're going out to Facebook at 720. We're going out to Twitch at 1080. And I upped the bit rate. And maybe that's it. Maybe this thing can't deal. You know, maybe it can't handle. Maybe we drop this down to 720 for Twitch. Just so it stops shitting itself. I don't know. It seems fine on my end. Cranking through an update? What the fuck does that mean? It looks fine on my end. The bill of your hat is bugging me. No. This is how the cool kids wear them. You wear them straight. You keep the sticker on. That way, it keeps its value. When the new one comes out, you get that. And all the black kids, they nod to you on the streets. They know. If you get a hat, keep the bill straight. Keep the sticker on. If it's got a tag, let that dangle behind you like a rat tail. If you have a rat tail, you don't even need a hat. Okay, let's see if we can do that. So I'm going to drop the Twitch stream for a sec. It should like drop and then it'll connect back immediately. What about that? Did that do anything? Now my CPU is at 44%. Was there any noticeable difference there? Did it even drop to you? I'm sure it blinked out for a second. Why break precedent now? Let's spend a few hours troubleshooting. Fuck yeah. I love that you guys are on board with that and get it. And get the show. Okay, I think that fixed it. I think that's it. I think if we go down to 720, then all is forgiven. Everything works great. The machine is workable. And everybody's happy. So it sounds good. Can I get, look, if I get 14 people in the chat room to say it's good now, we'll start content today. Now that we're 10, 11 minutes in, we'll start it. But it's going to be a long one today, so I'm warning you to like get comfortable. I've ground up some weed here. I will have to get high about 2 hours into this. What I'd like to do is spend some time on Ty up front, and then I would like to jump into this guy Trez Mala. Trez Mala. Oh my God, I can't be getting messages right now. Okay, none of this is important. Save it for later. That'd be great. Okay, we're all good, I think. Welcome to the show. Now this, whenever you're gonna like go after somebody else and you can't get your own shit working, it makes you look really bad, but I don't really give a fuck. I've been doing this too long to start caring now. And basically, if my internet went out, but you didn't tell me, like if this was going out to nobody, I'd be just as fucking happy. By the way, Twitch says unstable, but I can't be worried about it anymore. And stop calling me from scams. You ever get this where it's like scam likely? Like I need more information. I hate that it doesn't show you the number. Like sometimes it'll be a local number in Vegas calling me, and I'm expecting like a local business to call me. But you're actually giving me less information than caller ID. Like you're just saying, scam likely United States. Like how about you also show me the number? I do have a giant screen. So then I have to wait for the call to finish. And then I go in here and they're like, oh, it's Dallas, Texas. And I'm like, great. I don't know anybody there. And I hope it's all COVID related. All right, let's get into it, guys. Believe it or not, Ty Rivera has done another podcast, and God, is this guy prolific? I'll tell you this: he didn't do them. Here's what's changed. Here's what I will say has been happening. He is not appearing on video anymore. He is He used to do video podcasts. He used to do Popeye's chicken sandwich eating videos, you know, which is you know, a real hallmark of an idiot. I love food videos that don't get me wrong. I'm all for like having Alex Ansel on here. Whoa. Okay. I'm all for having Alex Ansel on here, and then we go grab some Popeye's chicken sandwiches, and that's like in the show. But I'd be damned if I go film a Popeye's chicken sandwich eating video, and like that's the purpose of the video. Like, hey guys, welcome to the channel. We're here at Popeye's trying the chicken sandwich. It's like that is also like he did it like a minute ago. You know what I mean? Like it had already been done by every black kid with a YouTube channel. So like, all right, we get it. You're really late at basic shit, which is like double basic. People probably won't be expecting this from me, but Ty had a very fun. Most of his tweets are just garbage like usual since our last show. Basically like some I'm a whore type stuff. I ran out of glasses, so I did a couple shots of water, you know. But I thought this was actually really funny. So I got to give a real shout out where it's due to Ty for this one. I wonder if Kamala has hot sauce in her purse. I liked that one. That's a funny joke. Okay, Ty, we see you. Now, then he's back to, I just saw two hookers wearing masks. Jesus, take the wheel. Then he's right immediately back to like, you know, basic, unfunny shit. But that's where we're at with Ty. But he did put out a new podcast. If you Google SoundCloud Unbothered, you know, he only puts them out on SoundCloud now. He doesn't like to publicize them anymore. They're super secret, low key. This one's called Lunch Money. He just put it up 5 hours ago. Now, these are getting shorter. But I would like to get through this without it being a thing today. I would like to get through this without stopping every few minutes and having to rehash this shit. But I will tell you that the Tres Mala stuff is the stuff I'm really excited about today. If you haven't heard of this Tres Mala guy, I don't even know where to start. Like, holy shit, we may never talk about Ty Rivera again after today. Once I tell you about this Tres Mala guy. Like, I can't believe this is a real person even. And in some ways he's normal, and I feel like we would get along and I'd like him. But in other ways, it's like, holy shit, do we need to set you straight on a few things? So maybe that'll happen, you know. Maybe he'll let us cuck him. We'll set him straight on some stuff. And then, you know. But if that's not how it's going to go down, if it's going to be, fuck you, you're not a comic. This is a show called Lunch Money. It's Ty Rivera's Unbothered. You know the drill.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Andrew Jacobson. Happy birthday to you. CPG got me all flustered. I gotta do it again.
Oh boy. He's unbothered.
Everything bothers him.
He's unbothered.
He calls it unbothered, but that's what's cute because everything bothers him. He's bothered. I'm a botherina.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Andrew Jacobson. Happy birthday to you. I'm terrible at singing, and Bees just wants her.
We know. Imagine
This little dog.
he's already quiet.
Ugh.
Time out, Ty. Do you want to do this anymore, bro? Are you okay? Bro, we are 56 seconds in. You're already sighing. Why do it? Why force yourself to crank these out week after week? Like, I can't. We're all still doing this. We're all still pretending like this is a guy. Like, we're 50 seconds into a podcast. This motherfucker's already like out of shit to say. And don't get me wrong. I'm sure at some point we'll get to why he left LA and he wasn't forced. And then he'll get passionate. But this is already like Psycast, Tycast. Put it back on the side of the road. I say, bitch.
I hate her. What's up, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Unbothered by Ty Rivera. I am Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. I have this little
He's such a, like, you can tell, like, even he doesn't believe it now anymore.
bit of a bruise under my eye. I got popped too close with the needle. Just keep it real. It's what it is. I got hit with the needle a little.
I have a bruise close to my eye because I got hit with it. Like, how every week it's like there's a bruise under my cheek, there's a bruise under my eye. It's like, what's the point of all this plastic surgery and Botox if you're never healed enough to look good? By the way, you've tattooed your face. You know what I mean? Like, now you're vain all of a sudden. Like, dude, you look like a balled up Burger King cup on the side of a highway, equivalent person. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense. He's like, another giant thing under my eye where the needle went in. It's like, stop going to needles. Stop getting things injected into you other than men, you know? Stick at what you're good to. Stick to what you're good at. Stick to what you're at. Be what you're good. Get to what you're at good. Be to what you can't. Be all that you can at.
Too close. Got some Botox in my eyebrows too. Right now, I'm not exactly happy because this one looks like I can smell what the Rock is cooking. But yeah, that's just really what happened. Was it wasn't the doctor's fault. It was like I had to go out in the heat after I did it, and you're not supposed to go out in the heat because it could. And
it's literally like melting.
I mean, like I was in the heat. If you just
Ichabod Plain.
walk through the heat and get to AC, you'll be fine. But this is probably more information than anybody needs. Plus, if any of you get Botox, you probably already know how that works anyway. And if you don't, well then, I don't know, hit me up in the DMs. I'm not going to be that accessible anymore coming up because I'm putting together a Patreon. Everybody needs a little lunch money every now and then. And people always hit me with, hey, here.
Listen to this. Could anybody see this coming? And by the way, this is like, I was teasing Adam Dominguez about this last night. It's like, it's all these guys who have like, 50 views on their YouTube videos, 3 views on their live videos. By the way, if you're watching on Facebook, come over to Twitch. You're a backup. There's 2 viewers on Facebook. You're lonely over there on Facebook. Come over to Twitch. There's a chat room and stuff. We're a family over here. Facebook is one of the worst companies on earth. And stay away from them. And by the way, Twitch, verdict's still out. We'll let you know where we come down on you during the next trial. But all these people, like, who have, how many times will he start a sentence with people always? Yeah, Moody, actually, if Moody's around, maybe he can point us to the old bingo. Maybe we can dust off the old bingo for Ty Rivera bingo when we listen to his shows, because holy shit, yeah, there's some good ones, right? Mention scars, mention Botox, mention how many gigs you get, mention people always say, mention I don't care, say unbothered. We have a list of them. If we start a Facebook group thread. Maybe we can get enough, and then we can do bingo cards. Booking faces in 2010s is all about the twitching in the 2020s. Yeah, I guess. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're trying to say, but I in principle, I agree with the words that were in the sentence. You know, those are words, so I can get on board with it to a degree. But other than that, stay out of my business. But all these guys who like have 3 live viewers on their content, 50 views of their other content, they're always like starting new projects. It's like they're always like, oh, I'm actually starting another podcast where we do this, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you have topped out at 3 downloads on your current podcast, so I can tell why you'd want to branch out. Like, it doesn't make any, like, you know, these guys will do like sketches on YouTube, and they'll get like 9 views. Sometimes they'll be weeks old with 0 views. And they're like, yeah, actually, I'm starting a second improv troupe, and we're going to be filming that with a 3-camera shoot 3 times a week. It's like, why? Why? Yeah, actually, I started another Twitter where I do just puns, and then I film sketches about those tweets on a separate Instagram. It's like, what? Actually, yeah, we're pitching. I wrote another show that we're pitching to the, oh, thanks for the follow. That means so much. It just like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like and there's 2 philosophies, you know. On the one hand, like I get like doing things, like you do have to like kind of throw a lot. Literally, like this business is like throw a lot of shit at the wall and see what sticks. And boy, is Ty sticky. But other than that, is this how the video's playing for you guys? Because I'm watching it on my Twitch. And holy shit, it is slow and buggy. But it looks like it's good to you people. It's I don't know. At some point you have to like really vet your ideas and like really and just go after the ones that are you know have some shot. You can't just keep, you know. I know guys who like they're designing a different logo every week for a new thing they're doing. It's like, you've done 38 things and none of them have lasted more than a week. The number of like, it's like some people with throwaway accounts. You ever meet somebody and they're like, I have 19 YouTube puppet accounts. It's like, okay. Like that's not like a normal thing we're doing as the human race. So like probably stop doing that, you know? It doesn't make any sense. And the same thing goes for like having 9 podcasts or, you know, trying to start 7 YouTube channels and they all have 30 followers. It's like, what are you doing? And by the way, I'm all for you, again, switching projects or doing something new. But the rule is, I think, you have to stop doing the old thing. I think somebody caught Josh Denny doing this week. He changed his... Where was that screenshot from? Somebody in the chat will know. Did Josh Denny post something from like LinkedIn or Facebook or something where he changed his title to like Public Relations Manager at Will Agency? Which I'm sure is not a real agency, and I'm sure that it's just a new company he made up. Where he's like, we're the Will Agency. Where there's a will, there's a way. Come on down and talk to Josh today and see what projects he can help you spin your wheels at. You know, at least Josh had a TV show. You can say whatever you want. Josh did that, what we're talking about. Like doing a lot of projects, throwing a lot of shit at the wall, seeing what sticks. Say whatever you want about the dude. He wrote a bunch of scripts. We laughed at him. He got his own TV show. Now, it did get canceled. And then it would have got canceled anyway because he got Me Too'd or whatever. But you got to be... fair, you know. At least you got a TV show. You're talking about guys like Ty. It's like, no, you got on Comedy Central once, and then everybody thought you were something. Like, do you understand he's still getting booked at comedy clubs based on this Comedy Central appearance from like 13 years ago? And it's like, that's not the same dude anymore. Like, he has been spit out the bottom of the comedy industry, and he's still getting like hired based on that fact. It doesn't make any, like, that's not real. You can't do that. But he does it. And now he's starting a Patreon. So this is a new thing. It's like, this is a guy who like gets 30 listens on his podcast. You know, he's driving to Sacramento to perform for 40 people. Let me look it up here. Let's pull this up so we know. Las Vegas to Sacramento. Let's find the distance. Because I know it's a while. Map. 8.5 hours. This is like driving to San Francisco pretty goddamn much. 8.5 hours. Okay? This is where we're at. He drove that to perform one night. One night. For 40 people. I don't know if you remember me making a joke about a month ago, maybe. I think Kool-Aid was on the show. And I said, I know what these comedy clubs pay me when I headline a room that seats 300 people, okay? It ain't great money, but it's money. You know, I wasn't doing anything else. I'll take it. Imagine 9 hours each way. This guy ain't flying, you know. He's tying one on and then getting behind the wheel of a car. Imagine driving 18 hours to perform one night for 40 fucking people. Now let's do a little bit of math. I think he probably brought some Vegas comics with him. And they were like, we'll give you guys $500 for the show. We'll give you guys $1,000 for the show. I don't know what it was. I can almost guarantee it wasn't $1,000. So let's do some math, okay? I think the tickets were $10. I'm pretty sure they might have been $20. Let's do the benefit of the doubt and say they were $20. Okay, that's $800 if you got 40 people. Okay, let's do some quick math. Check me on your calculators. Get out your Android apps. $800 total. Now remember, this club has to make money. And I'm sure they're doing a lot of that through drinks and stuff. But I'm telling you, $500-$600 max. And imagine there's 2 more comics on this show. There were probably more. And those guys got to be getting $50, $100, right? So it's like, I'm willing to bet, ballpark, Ty Rivera got paid anywhere from $200 to $500 for that night. Imagine 18 hours in a car. Imagine getting to the gig a couple hours early. Because when you're driving 9 hours, you can't just roll up while it's starting. Oh boy, I'm getting messages. Maybe we have some intel on how much this gig paid. That'd be fucking great. Okay. Now, when you do 18 hours, let's say he got there an hour early. I don't think he did, but let's say he did. And then let's say he performed for an hour. I don't think he did, but let's say he did. So 20 hours. Okay, we're at 20 hours. We're at $500. We're giving him the max pay. Okay? $500. Now this is 564 miles. That's 2 tanks of gas each way. 4 tanks of gas. Let's say at 250. Let's give it cheap gas. Let's say it's California first of all, so it's not. Most of this driving, we got to say it's $3 a gallon. Okay, so we got to put it at $40 a tank. So now we're at 160 for 4 tanks of gas. Okay, 20 hours, $160 in gas. So now at profit, we're at what? 340. Okay, so now we're making 340 after gas to drive 9 hours each way, 18 hours, and perform for 40 people. Do you understand? I just need everyone to know the level we're working with here. Like, this isn't a guy who gets to like wag his finger and tell anybody anything. When you boil your time down, so now let's take 20 hours, $340. What does that work out to? 15, 16, $17 an hour. $17 an hour for 18 hours behind the wheel and 2 hours not behind the wheel. And that's like that's like driving there, performing, driving straight back, which you couldn't do unless you brought some other people. Maybe they pitched in for gas. He can get that up to $19 an hour. It's like, what? And then he's going to start a Patreon. Like, what I love about Patreon, you can't hide, right? You can't hide Patreon, how much you're making on Patreon. It tells the world, right? You have 3 patrons. This is like Josh Denny started a Patreon. This dummy like gets this false confidence. I think this was before he had the TV show. I think it was from this podcast, and then he starts a page. He's like, Patrick makes money every month from doing that. And he sucks. I'll just start a Patreon. He had like two patriots. What do you call them? Patrons. Yeah, it's like, whoa. You gotta people aren't realistic about their metrics and their numbers. And if you're not consistent, it really doesn't carry any weight anywhere. Like I've just started doing this Twitch stuff, which I think is Twitch offline. We might be completely offline now. I don't know. I keep getting errors from it. I can't be bothered with it. I think more people are. It says we're connected, but it feel like I'm getting. I wish I could show you my console. Like, it looks fucking insane right now. Also, like, I gotta retrain everybody with this chat room stuff. There is a delay, so you in the chat room just typing no or yes or good doesn't do anything. You have to like type a complete sentence. Like, Twitch is up, Twitch looks good, Twitch is fine, Twitch is working. Yes, no, these things, I talk way faster, and then once you get a delay, no, I'm watching on Twitch. That's how a retard talks, don't you dare. All right, back to this. I just wanted you to know. I know there's a long background to complaining about Ty opening a Patreon, but God, can you imagine the bonus content Ty's going to provide you on Patreon? Haven't been 3 restarts yet, so all good. Okay, good. So it's not working for me, but you guys say it's working for you, and I'll take that as a blaze of glory. This is Ty's like free content. I can't wait for the premium content, so maybe we'll get some emotion.
Have lunch on me.
And we're only 2 minutes in. Have lunch on me. Is everything lunch to you guys?
Here's some lunch money, and so like that's part of the thinking with it. And also, like, I don't know how much I'm gonna want to be on the road, so I'll probably start doing more online content and figure that out. Cause just being on the road really isn't for me the way it used to be. Like, that's why. Wow.
So again, remember, being on the road to this 62-year-old man is driving 20 hours for $300. And by the way, that 500, I find it real hard to believe he made 5. It's closer to 3. I'm almost sure of it. And 4 tanks of gas. So, you know, really factor this into your thinking process. We've got a guy here who's mad in the brain. He drives to Phoenix all the time. That's 5 hours. He drives to LA all the time. That's 4. He's driving to San Francisco, Sacramento. He probably drives to Portland. He's a road dog. But at the end of these fucking long solo rainbow trips, there is no pot of gold. All he finds at the end is a group of guilty people clapping at a hack gay man, and then a sad drive back where he's just eating zebra cakes and masturbating to Grindr alone behind the seat of what I can only imagine is a rusted out 1983 Chrysler LeBaron. What kind of car has this guy got? He ain't riding around in no Tesla. Get a Patreon so you can buy me lunch. Okay.
Sometimes, I get a little short with other comics when it's their first time being on the road and they're just trying to have fun. And I get it. You still see the road that way. I still see it as fun from time to time, or in certain cities I'll check out.
He always attacks a group, but then also lets you know that he's cool with that group. He's like, I get annoyed with comics when we're on the road. They just want to have fun. It's like, I have fun on the road. It's first of all, I don't take shit gigs. I would never drive 20 hours to perform for 40 fucking people for no money. That's an insane gig. So yeah, I can get that you're a little fucking downtrodden after that. I would be too. Also, you're coming home to no one, If I didn't have Kathleen and the girls and Jacob, I don't know what I would do. So you're coming home to nothing but the holes in your cheek. Masturbating to Grindr and eating zebra cakes doesn't sound that bad. Well, agree to disagree. No, it's probably fine. Matt, by all means, jack it to some zebra cakes if that's your shit. I'm not here to judge. But he has to contradict himself within seconds. He'll be like, I get annoyed on comics who trying to go out on the road and just have a good time. And it's I get it. It's still fun for you. And don't get me wrong. It's still fun for me. I can still hang and have fun. It's you can't. You're just saying how you hate those people and you get mad at them. Everything's, by the way, get mad. People are mad. People always get mad. People are upset. It's no one's paying attention. Just like this show.
Sites, or I went to the Oklahoma City, the Murph Federal Building and stuff like that. I've seen some cool stuff in my time, but at the same time I don't.
He just said, as an example for traveling and road and what makes the road fun, he goes, don't get me wrong, I can still have a good time. I was in Oklahoma City and I went and saw the Federal Building, so I can cut loose. This is like Kathy at the office right before she comes up to you and tells you something that HR wants you to do. She always goes, now look, we enjoy fun around the office, but if you could fill out these papers in triplicate. This is what he just did. Look, I love traveling and having fun. I went to the Federal Building in Oklahoma City. I know how to party. Listen to this fucking dope.
Really like being on the road like that anymore. So it's having to figure that out and knowing the reality and what we're coming out of it, or maybe staying.
These guys, that never figured out how to make money. They just literally drive weekend to weekend to weekend to weekend to weekend, making just shit money, barely paying rent. I don't get burnt out. I don't work a lot. I have a lot of time off now because I work smarter, not harder. I'm not driving 20 hours to a gig to make, crumbs.
Hang in for a little while. I don't know what's happening, but that's where that's at, So I'm putting together a Patreon, and I like the idea better also because YouTube, the thing was, if you remember, a lot of you probably started watching me on YouTube, the people that started watching me from YouTube, which I know I haven't been the best about.
The delusion of this guy. A lot of you probably started listening. It's there ain't a lot of us, period. You have 30 followers, bro. Like, we're looking at the pay. Sorry, 175. I looked at the wrong number. It's like, there ain't a lot. It'd be like me going, like, a lot of people watching right now probably think it's like, there ain't a lot of people watching right now. Like 30 max, across the board. So grow up, get real. A lot of you probably started out watching me on YouTube. It's like, no, we didn't. There were cat videos we were more interested in.
And I was doing really well for a while, but this is the reason why. Because the way that they pay on YouTube changed, and so it left less incentive. It was like, because, like when you shoot even a basic...
Hold on. He just said he stopped participating on YouTube because of the way they changed monetization. He's never been big enough to, like, let me just tell you something. And I think Ty actually, I have more followers than him. I think on the Patrick Melton YouTube is more popular than the NLO YouTube. But you guys need to understand this. I've never given a fuck or tried to build these channels. I just started doing album art and some basic shit to, like, just step it up a bit. But, I could give two fucks. And I just started turning on monetization. So, because, like, why the fuck not? I've always kept ads off YouTube videos. I don't give a fuck. I just turned it on for all of them just to, like, for shits and giggles, just to see what's what. And by the way, sometimes we do a show where we play music or something. It doesn't let us monetize it. And I don't give a fuck. I don't cut it out. I'm fine making no money on that video. But just by doing that in the past couple months, it's like I'm making a couple hundred a month of YouTube videos. Now, that's nothing. The chat just advertised the Instagram. We just started that. We just started, like, being active on the Instagram. I'm just starting this stuff. So you have to, like, build it. You know what I mean? But imagine that, like, a couple hundred a month. He's like, now look, I'm not, gaming the system. I don't know how to, like, fucking, like, get more views on your content. Like, I don't give a fuck about that or whatever. I do think a nicer thumbnail helps, and I think descriptions help, and tags and stuff. But aside from that, he's like, I stopped doing stuff on YouTube because the way they changed they're incentivizing me with their monetization. It's like, what? Like, none of your videos have more than, like, 50 views, 80 views. Like, some of your old stand-up ones have more, but, like, well, you're like, I used to make 3 cents on a video, and YouTube cut it down to 1. It's like, what? What are you talking about? You're not like fucking Logan Paul, where we're talking, like, big hundreds of thousands, millions of dollar swings. What are you talking about? Listen to this nut.
Video. Like, some of the videos I was doing, because I would edit in, like, pieces from news stories and stuff like that. If you remember when I was doing the 30-day challenge, my 30-day challenge, which was also how I ended up getting monetized on YouTube and getting money in the first.
Can I tell you something? Don't do challenges. Somebody challenges you to something. No. Duel, pistols at dawn, walk away. Did we learn nothing from Hamilton? Like, these social media challenges, you're all like, stop it. Stop it. Where are your parents while all this is going on, by the way? While you're retweeting stuff? Write this in your profile, how you met me. And then copy this to your profile and challenge people to tell you how they met you. It's like, who gives a shit? I wish I hadn't met most of you. And I don't want to be reminded of the trauma of meeting you.
So it was a good experiment and stuff like that. But it was a different way that they...
He's always winded, too.
So now they changed it, and the way that they changed it makes it so it's really not worth the time, especially for a person like me that's, like, a little bit more edgy, and so it changes the way that and stuff like that. So it is what it is, and I'm not complaining about it even a little bit.
He just said Facebook changed the rules for edgy people like him, so now he can't make money. I put up a video called Send Black Kids Back to School, and that's monetized. I can't imagine a more incendiary topic. And yes, it was a stupid joke. I don't really, But, like, you know what I mean? So he's like, they keep blocking my videos. I can't make money on them because, It's hard for edgy content creators to get money now on. It's like, what? Logan Paul sells child porn and has a mansion from YouTube, so it's pretty easy.
I think the main thing right now for everybody, and I know I say this all the time, but is just being willing to evolve with whatever it is that's going on in your industry. Like, that's the best advice I can give absolutely anybody, is just roll with the punches and see where things take you.
This is a plea by a man who sees his world crashing down around him. You know, we're spreading the word. We're making people kind of like shake their head and wake up out of the matrix that, oh, this guy's actually not a good comic. And he's tricked us with a lot of basic bitch, sorcery. And I'm going to have to start pivoting. But he knows he can't do it in online content. So now he's going to start a Patreon. It's like, you can't give away your videos. This is like every fucking guy now who's like, this is so cringe when I see this. When I see a comic posting like something about masks or the entertainment industry, where they're like, artists are essential, comedians are essential, help me make this go viral. It's like, we've sat here for decades while you've tried to make videos go viral, and you've never been able to do it once. You know what I mean? How many dumb sketches has your mother financed, How many times have we stood by while you spent money on an improv class to walk in there with the other trust fund babies playing zip, zap, zop? You know what I mean? So that you could put out your script or film your screenplay. It doesn't make any sense to be going now like, oh, we need to make it viral. It's like, oh, that's what we need to do. Oh, I never thought about that. Guys, change of plans. We're going to try to make it viral now. Like, oh, this time we're going to do a video and try to make it popular. Okay. Change of plans, Henry. This one we want to get big. Not like all our other videos where we're trying to keep them small. This Patreon's going to take off. I know we were trying to get people to watch our videos for free, and that wasn't working out. But if we could get people to pay $10 a month for my complete, lack of emotion, I don't get mad at people. People quit the overdose when I didn't do shows for a couple months. That's fucking fine, and that's fair, and good on you for not being scammed. Those of you who kept them going, idiots. No, thank you for the support. But like, that's fair. That's the shit. You know what I mean? Ty's saying roll with the punches. Yeah, he's the least roll with the punches. Right. This is a guy, like, the minute he doesn't like something, he builds a wall in Minecraft or Fortnite or wherever you build walls. I don't know which is the one with the wood and which is the one with the blocks, because it's tricky when you get into it. Welcome to my gaming channel, guys. We'll be talking about Fortnite.
Because if you're really rigid right now, it's not going to work out. Like, you see that even with like simple things like masks and stuff like that. I've already let it be known on several platforms.
By the way, remember a week ago, as late as a week ago, this motherfucker is in our faces going, fuck masks. I don't give a fuck about people. I ain't wearing a mask. Like, fuck you. Remember that? Look how he's already bending.
Platforms that I'm not really down with the mask. I don't think it's doing that much. And I know some people get mad at you for even saying that and say you're stupid and you're denying.
I mean, you are stupid. Like, if we're still talking about whether a mask does anything, like, people do this dumb, weird, like, move the goalpost thing on arguments now, which is like just classic. Like, nobody wants to like actually find out anything or get an answer or know facts. They want to win arguments. So that's all it's about. So somebody will go like, well, a mask, you wear a mask to protect other people from the droplets expelled by you. If you clear your throat or laugh or cough, sometimes it sneaks up on you. It's basically when you speak, it stops an inadvertent, gleek, which is droplets. It keeps some droplets from, less droplets are flying around a room where people are laughing with masks or talking with masks or coughing with masks. Less droplets are landing on your eggplants and your papayas at the grocery store when people are shopping with masks. I mean, that's not something that we should even have to talk, like, agree. Yeah, a fabric thing in front of your face would catch moisture expelled from an orifice. Like, absolutely. 100%. Like, I'll get done talking and yelling on this podcast sometimes, and, there'll be droplets on the microphone foam. Like, that happens. You ever been to a show or a podcast studio where they don't, like, it's not hygienic. They don't clean, because these things come off, and every couple months, depending on usage, if I'm using it, it's not a big fucking deal. But you can gently soak this in some mild soap and water, you know what I mean? And get rid of the saliva remnants in it, the dust mites. This is the equivalent of a mattress that you lay on with your words. So clean it out. You go to a comedy show or a podcast where they don't do that, you could smell it. You could smell the mic. It's gross. So there's no arguing. That's not even like a point to contend that wearing a mask keeps droplets out of the air, correct? Okay, so now what do we do? Well, now we have to fucking ask if that doesn't. Well, if there's less droplets in the air, that means I'll probably breathe less droplets. It's like, okay. So what are we even like, and just Ty going, I don't feel like they do anything. It's like, I mean, that's fine. You're allowed to not feel like they do anything. Go smell a microphone after he gets done talking and tell me nothing comes out of your mouth while you talk. You're all like, don't argue the things that aren't even worth arguing. Like, that's a dumb argument. Masks don't stop anything. And then they'll post a photo of the side of a mask box where it's like, masks don't prevent COVID. It's like, well, of course they don't. Vaccines don't prevent COVID. Like, it's not about preventing. It's about greatly reducing the risk of it. But like, I didn't realize we were in such, I knew we were gone, but I didn't know we were so far gone. There's not an answer to this. And I'm done worrying about it or trying to convince or argue with people. This is going to be what it is. People are going to die. People are going to get it. People are not going to get it. Some people are going to be fine and think they were right. Some people are going to die and realize they were wrong. I could care less. I'm moving on. I'm just watching the show now. So, Ty feeling like masks don't do anything, fine with me. We are only 4 minutes into this podcast, and this isn't even the main event for today. I'm so sorry.
Science and whatever, and we can go through that, and I could
see, that's what I mean. Like, he lumps science in with whatever. And I know you'll say masks do something because of science and whatever. It's like, right. Like, science is put in a bin with whatever. And Ty's feelings are put in a bin marked important. So, like, that's where we're at. And it's not just Ty's fault. Like, that's where we're at as a people now. It's just like, I don't feel like this does anything. It's like, right. Well, then I guess don't do it, I don't feel like this plane could get off the ground. It's too heavy. Well, it's like, I guess don't go anywhere. I don't feel like, it's like, your feelings are irrelevant to reality. Like, we've really forgotten that.
Tell you my reasons and exactly the way I think, and maybe one day I will go all the way into it. But for right now, I would just say that I wear a mask wherever I need to wear a mask so that everybody can stay open, so that people can get open. Like, I'm doing my part in that way.
I mean, good. Congrats on being a basic human. Like, it took him 5 months. Like, what a long way to get to, I guess you guys are right, whatever. 5 months into this pandemic, he's like, fine, I guess I'll wear a mask if you say it helps everybody. It's like, thanks for catching up, Ty. Like, again, this is a guy that anyone wants to follow around. This is a fucking idiot. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. This is not a smart man. On any level. Like, I'll debate him face to face any day. And by the way, I put a call out to comics on our Instagram yesterday. Any comedian who wants to come on this show and convince me I'm wrong about Ty, please, please, please message me. Get in touch. Anybody who wants to come on and convince me I'm wrong, I'm taking him too seriously, I've got it all mixed up, it's all been a misunderstanding, Ty's actually a really smart, good guy, and this is all a bit. Whatever you want to, like, please. And almost 24 hours later, no one's running to stick up for this guy. Everyone will like his posts. Everyone will say they like him and he's funny and they're his friend. No one's got this dude's back. Like, I'm sorry. Because you know why? Because you can't stand up to the questions I'm going to ask you. You literally can't do it. I will make you look so dumb if you try to stick up for this man. And you might say, well, that's a reason no comic's going to come on and try to argue with you about something that you're not going to, like, well, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm open. I'm perfectly open to it if you can come on and talk to me about it. But, I don't know where you would start. He's like, we've listened to a man for fucking months tell everybody, fuck man, fuck. Now he's like, I guess if science says that wearing them, I'll do my part and wear a mask. It's like, what? What? Way to be steadfast,
So I wish more people were willing to just evolve. Like some people don't respect the social distancing. I personally feel like if I'm going to wear a mask so that everybody feels better, then the least you guys can do is social distance, because I don't like having people around me like that to begin with. And then when we have a pandemic, and I know that...
Oh, well, he doesn't want people around him. It's like, do you understand the hypocrisy of this dork?
Some people are going to make the numbers go up. I feel like no matter what, I'll be fine. I'm just too healthy. And I know some people will get mad at you for saying that too. But, that's the thing with
nobody's going to get mad at you. We're just rooting for you to get it. Like, we all want to see you sick in a hospital bed now. You know what I mean? And, like, not in in a way, yeah, we don't want anybody to get hurt and stuff. But it's also going to be super funny to watch you cough up blood and die. Like, I'm sorry. We will be unbothered by that when it happens.
Everything. People get mad at you about everything. And at the same time, the people that actually watch my stuff are not that type.
All 17 of them.
Like, the people that pay attention to me get that every once in a while my opinion can be vastly...
We are paying attention to you, and your opinion is all over the map. The only thing more manic than your mood and personality is your opinions.
Different from yours. And your having a different opinion doesn't bother me. I don't feel like I have to convince...
Imagine trying to coach Ty as like a high school debate coach, and you're trying to like teach Ty how to argue. And he's just like, Ty, you're just all over the place. You're not making points. You go off into stories to like prove things that nobody accused you of, and you just kind of ramble. And you contradict yourself a lot, and you're not even really sticking up for the side you say you're on. So we're kind of, time out, Ty, let's start it over.
If anything, make you see things my way, and, vice versa. I just feel like, we can just respect each other where we're at and be like, okay, well, there's a million other things to talk about.
Now he wants to respect people where they're at. Last week it was like, fuck you, fuck masks, fuck everybody. I don't care who dies. I hate people. Fuck everybody. Like, do you understand why you can't let a person like this in any kind of real situation of power or, thinking they're in control of something? Like there's no consistent message from a dork like this.
About, masks aren't the only thing going on in the world. And when you look at some of the stuff that's happening in the world, it's kind of like, do we still have to make trivial things into really big deals when we have so much serious stuff going on? Like, no matter what you think of the pandemic, like me personally, I'll tell you where I'm at with the pandemic itself. Like, I have said this before, I'm not a conspiracy guy on this, so it's not like I feel like it's just a hoax and the government wants to, have us cover
He looks like Mac wearing cat eyes and the night man cometh. Oh,
our mouths so we can't communicate and whatever else. I've heard all of them, and some of them I think it's important to at least pay attention to the conspiracy.
He thinks it's important to pay attention to a conspiracy theory that the reason the government wants us wearing masks is so we can't communicate. It's like, if anything, wouldn't the conspiracy theory would be that the government wants us all home on Facebook communicating so that we argue more and fight more? It's like, who's sitting at home going like, I don't know what's going on with my friends because we've all been wearing these masks. I wish I could just get an update somehow, but we all have masks on, so I don't know, what's happening in the world because of the masks. Like, you can talk under a mask, and B, you can fucking talk, communicate through a lot of other means. Calling up your grandma in another state. Sorry, the mask law. Like, this guy makes no sense.
Conspiracy theories.
I'm about to get high.
Crazy. Some of them you're like, well, there could be a grain of truth in that, and I feel like there is at least a grain of truth in almost every conspiracy theory.
There's not. I mean, do you understand that? There's not.
But when you think about the way that people were reporting, and in some cases misreporting, and then Chicago or Illinois had said that no matter what, if the person has COVID, they consider it a COVID death, even if it's like anything, and it really was anything. If they had tested positive for COVID, then it was considered a COVID death. So when you have that kind of stuff, and then a friend of mine just told me, sorry, let me finish that thought. A friend of mine just told me that they had 2 people that they knew that went in and didn't even get tested, but they told them they were COVID positive. And at first that sounded pretty unbelievable even to me, even though I know my friend wouldn't lie to me, because my friend is a grown man and he's just not that type, and he's not even a conspiracy guy or whatever. He was just saying that this was like a weird thing. But he knew 2 people that went in, didn't even get tested. They told them they had COVID, and then I get home and I see a similar story on Facebook. And so I think it's been a...
Do you understand, like, the lack of critical thinking this dude has? He's like, a friend of mine told me that 2 people he knows went into a hospital. They didn't even get tested, and they told them they had COVID. It's like, I mean, as dumb as that sounds, this is how he rationalized it as being absolute truth. He goes, and I know my friend, and he wouldn't lie. He's not even a conspiracy guy, so he wouldn't lie. I know he told the truth. And it's like, yeah, his story is still hearsay. Like, people go like, yeah, there was a Godzilla stomping on citizens out in the parking lot of a Walmart this morning, just like an actual lizard Godzilla. It was crazy. My friend told me that her friend saw it. And my friend doesn't lie. Like, she's a really honest person. So I know there was really a Godzilla there. It's like, what?
A mix of everything that's made everything, like as far as all the numbers and stuff like that, just be off. So you can't really count on that. And then when it came to, like, the Black Lives Matter or George Floyd peaceful protest, the protest, I think that was a really good missed opportunity to actually gather a lot of data, but because they wanted to make sure that they stayed politically correct and didn't blame anything, which I don't think there was like a huge spike because of that, but like obviously it factors in. So if we're trying to figure things out, we need to kind of throw political correctness by the wayside and be like, okay, what's the exact science on this? Like, it doesn't matter what they're protesting. The fact is, we have a lot of people gathered in one particular area. We can do some good.
So now he wants science done. A minute ago, he's like, I'll wear a mask. I don't think they do anything. I don't care what science or whatever says. And now he's like, we missed a good opportunity during this protest to do some good science and figure out how the spread during protests works. It's like, what are you talking? And of course the guy won't, actually have a conversation with anybody. Like, any podcast you can find this guy's gone on, anything like that, it's always like him running the show and him kind of being the alpha, because he can't get cornered. He can't get asked a really hard question and follow it up. Like, a minute ago, you said, like, science was bunk. Like, you don't believe in masks no matter what science says and whatever. Now you're like, we could have done good science work about the spread during the protests. It's like, what?
research there. Same with Sturgis. Some people were so upset about Sturgis, but if they're going to do it anyway, then why not go see how much data you can collect? And in the end, if you're like, okay, well, we've got a better idea, it's better than where you were before. But instead, everybody wants to be upset about everything, and I just don't live that way. I don't live in panic.
I mean, can you believe it, what you're hearing?
I don't live in fear. And I know that does get under some people's skin.
He's so dumb because he thinks so somebody like me, who I'm being very safe, honestly. I don't go out, except to shop for things. I order food in occasionally, but I'm not hanging with people. None of my friends in Vegas have seen me in 5 months since I've been home. Literally. Kool-Aid, Adam, all these guys from the show, Waldeck, everybody you've seen, they all are out doing shows and hanging with you. Kool-Aid's no, I stay home. I live pretty much. It's you think you do, you don't. I'm, And in Ty's head, it's that's weak. You're scared. You're living in fear. And the way I'm just, trying to be fucking careful. That's where I'm at. I'm not scared. I'm not being crazy or irrational. I just dude, I'm not fucking with this. And you can think it's fake, and you can think it's hyped. And guess what? Everything's hyped. You know what I mean? I'm aware of how the news works. So I guess there's just two ways to look at it. You like banging a grizzled hooker without a condom can be looked at as not living in fear. Me wearing a condom, you could look at it as just playing it safe, just in case. I'm not crazy about touching everybody anyway. And now that there's coronavirus, no. We are 9 minutes and 11 seconds into this. Never forget.
Because they think we're all supposed to be built the same, but it's there's a reason different people are designed different ways, for me, a lot of times what's going on online is starting to matter less and less just because I have more and more that I actually want to take care of in real life. And also, I have really good people around me, so
listen to this lie. Okay, so now he's beginning of the show and it's all the beginning still. He's I think I'm going to do less and less road work. I'm starting a Patreon, getting back on YouTube, getting stuff going. Because you got to pivot. You got to change. Now he's you know what? I'm getting out of this online world. I got to get out in the real world. That's where it's at. I got things I want to do. And it's you just spent 5 minutes telling us to sign up for your Patreon and that you finally are getting back into YouTube and doing less real world stuff. So it's which one is it, man? I've never seen someone in 10 minutes flip-flop on so many things. Am I wrong? Are you guys hearing it? Am I crazy? I know I'm crazy. But, am I nuts? I'm not wrong, right? He told us that he wanted to get off the road and he was starting a Patreon. He had to do YouTube. And now he's I got to get off this online. It just doesn't matter anymore. I got things I want to do in real life. It's oh, okay.
For me, a lot of times life is going so well that it's my own life.
Life is going so well. Begging for help fixing your car online. You know what I mean? You have holes in your face that people are asking, are you okay? And now you're driving, 20 hours to make $300. So we've heard how well it's going. We get it, Robin Leach.
Online life is cool and it's fun or whatever, but it's a distraction. The real life is the life that's right around me. The real life is when I was playing Cards Against Humanity with 3 of my 4.
Remember, for the first time last week, he played Cards Against Humanity. He hasn't stopped thinking about it. It's the most fun he's had in years.
4 of my really good friends. They're both couples, and I was the 5th wheel. Real life is also great. And I went to Bellagio and Caesar's Palace and several other sightseeing.
Imagine living in Las Vegas. Can you imagine? This is the new hashtag for Ty. Can you imagine? Hashtag can you imagine? Can you imagine living in Las Vegas and bragging about recently visiting the Bellagio or the Caesars casinos? Like, now listen, I'm not saying having a story about it or saying you were there the other day. You know, if I go out to Caesars and something happens, I come back, I'm like, hey guys, I was at Caesars the other day and this happened. Fine. He's using this as an example for how he likes to get out and shake it up and live life. He's like, I like to get out there, you know, life's passing you by. I live it up. I live it up and live life. I went to the federal building in Oklahoma City. And also, you know, recently I went to the Bellagio. So I've seen something.
Just fun things on the Strip with Bruce Leonard and his new girlfriend, Charlie Hester. And I had just met her, and she's such a sweet lady, and they're such a great couple.
That's how I talk about my good friends. I always say their full names.
And it's just great to see your friends in love. You know, the other group that I was with for Cards Against Humanity was two couples that are, you know, married, and like, there's just so much good, like, right around me that it's kind of like, what do I really need to go online for? So that's becoming a...
If you don't think all of this is, you know, passively dancing around what's going on with this show, you know, and believe me, I'm narcissistic, but this is classic. Like, I just have so much good, and every time I go online, it's bad. So I'm just staying off the line. Welcome to my website and podcast. Join my Patreon. And check me out on YouTube. I'm getting more active. But get offline. It's toxic. Join my Patreon. Moody's back, everybody. I don't have a got 'em sound effect anymore because of the new Mac.
I don't care.
That's all we got. Moody, welcome. We're 11 minutes into a podcast. He's contradicted himself 17 times. I'm not even here to talk about Ty today, but we have to lay down this foundation. Why should I go online? Said the man online. Yeah, no, like, literally he said, I don't want to do the road anymore. I'm tired of the road. I get mad at comics who go on the road and have fun. I'm starting a Patreon. I'm getting back into YouTube. You know, he's tired of giving away his content to the dozens of people online. He wants money for it. So now he's online. And now he's saying he hates online. He's got too much real world stuff to live for. And going online is depressing. And he wants to do less online and get out in the real world. And its example he used for getting out and having fun was going to the Bellagio, a casino that anyone else who lives in Vegas, if they went to it, they wouldn't. That's not a story. It's like anybody going like, I went to Costco. It's like, oh, you should write that down in your journal.
A thing too, where it's like, you're going to see me online less and less. And well, you know, I'll be shooting content, so there'll be more actual like this. But like, as far as me commenting on stuff.
Shooting content, okay? He hasn't appeared in anything since we've started doing this to him. He hasn't. He used to do his podcast video face to face. He doesn't even post them up anymore. I have to go hunt this down on SoundCloud. He doesn't promote it
On Facebook.
He might do it after we do it. Like after he knows I've found it, he'll put it up on YouTube and it'll get 12 hits, and he'll be like, "Enjoy it while it's free, guys. Patreon's coming."
Book that much, or Twitter. I just don't know how much that's going to continue because life is getting so busy, and I know it probably shouldn't be this busy. And
so he's starting a Patreon and getting into YouTube. He just told you to go to his YouTube, and then he goes, "I don't know how long I'll be doing that though, because life's getting too busy." It's like, are you okay? What's happening? Hashtag can you imagine? What?
Shut down, but it is busy and it's great, and I'm not going to try to stop that to be like, okay, let me focus on my online life. More and more coming up online for me will be more about just promoting, and this is where you guys...
What's the bet? He turns off the number of patrons on his Patreon. Oh, can you do that? Then 100%. Otherwise, it will be so embarrassing.
can talk to me, or you can check me out on my YouTube, or like that kind of stuff. You know, people are so unproductive in their arguments too. Like, that's the other thing that discourages me from really being online like
This
that
is all about us. Soak it up.
anymore. You know, like, I've met some really great people. Like last week when I was talking about Ariel Isaac Norman, who is the co-host of the Gender Fluids podcast, and I was like, I have to listen to Gender Fluids.
All these people he's talked about so far on the show, he's given their full names. Is how you know that somebody, you're not friends with somebody when you give their whole name. I was hanging out with my friend Bruce Leonard and his new wife, Charlie so-and-so. It's like, what? Patrick is one of his. Yeah.
I finally did listen to it. You guys can check it out on Stitcher, and it's called Gender Fluids, the podcast.
We know.
And but if you just search Gender Fluids on, you know, Google, it'll come up. Check it out on Stitcher. Then you don't have to download anything. You can play it right there. Stitcher's really convenient.
Right. I'm starting a Patreon, but I'm also busy and might not put anything on there. Exactly. He has so much going on in real life, he doesn't have time for online. Yeah, of course. This is all about that. Yes.
Unbothered by Ty Rivera is also on Stitcher, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, we're talking about gender fluids. And so Ariel hit me up, which last...
Imagine telling people your podcast is on Stitcher. Oh, yeah. Oh, where podcasts are? Cool. You guys on Apple too? Cool. Hey, do you guys have pepperoni? Cool. I have a veggie.
week, if you remember, I was talking about her, and I was saying, like, I don't know how she identifies, and I think she's non-binary. Turns out she is non-binary. She doesn't, like, really identify as a non-binary, which maybe one day I'll have her on the podcast however I can. Maybe I'll finally do a Zoom show because I think she's interesting enough and cool enough.
Yeah, the guy who's getting out of online stuff is starting Zoom shows now.
Person when it comes to LGBT. Because she accepts that non-binary isn't, it's like a new thing for a lot of people. Even I had trouble navigating it, and she like kind of...
I mean, it's a new thing for everyone in the scope of time. You know what I mean? Pretty new. You know, I think we should do a podcast because non-binary seems new to some people. It's like, I mean, you find me when the term was coined, but I'm guessing we ain't going past Freud too far.
Said that, you know, she thought I handled it really well or whatever, and that she's fine with people being a little confused. And I'm paraphrasing here, of course, but like, you know...
I'm a beer guy. Have you tried PBR? Yeah.
Her pronouns, and she's like, she doesn't worry about pronouns or doesn't need pronouns to, I guess, validate what it is she is. I try to use the best words possible because I do accept that things are changing. Like
him and Trump, the best words.
I say evolution is the key to everything for me. So, like I take an example like Ariel. Ariel is so great about being willing to explain how she identifies, what she is, and talk about that. And that's what people really like, because of the way that she talked to me in the message. Like, usually I'm not a they, them pronouns person, which if you're not familiar, a lot of non-binary people will go by the they, them pronouns. So, you know, you refer to them as basically plural. And usually I'm not down with that. But if I like a person, I will go with whatever it is they want me to go with because I like them as a person, and that's a part of respecting them as a person. But when you yell at me or you come at me with these ridiculous arguments that make no sense, like the other day I was on Twitter, and there was this girl that was giving Jeffree Star a hard time, you know, in his tweets, which Jeffree Star probably didn't even read. But I got annoyed because she was saying that the word dyke was such an...
The reason he thinks that, like, people always say, and I know people are going to get mad, and people get annoyed at me for this, and the reason he says that kind of, like, thing all the time is because he, like, that's projecting. Like, he gets annoyed all the time. It's like, I was on Twitter the other day, and I saw this, and I got really annoyed, and it's like... Right. So naturally, like, he thinks everything he tweets fires people up. He's like, I tweeted this tweet the other day, and I know people are going to hate it and get annoyed, but I don't care. It's like no one gave a fuck, dude. Like, it really is the weirdest. I've never seen someone think that so many people are watching them when no one is, and yet also be so self-isolating. Like this guy doesn't let anyone who disagrees with his sphere of belief stay in his sphere of belief. Like anyone who disagrees gets blocked, unfollowed, blocked, and then lied about. Then he writes a whole new narrative in his head and goes over and writes, I just blocked the person who did this, and here's why I'm right. Don't come at me. Like that kind of weird shit. So it's weird then to have this other side of you that's like, people are constantly watching me and angry. And it's like, well, I thought you don't have time for that, getting annoyed at people. I thought you don't have time for anger. I thought you don't have time to be bothered. It's just so many different conflicting personality traits. I don't even, any sentence he starts with people is a lie. Yeah, like Trump. Exactly.
Offensive word to all lesbians. And I jumped in and I was like, have you ever heard of the Dyke March before? Because there's a Dyke.
And I'm telling you, people, this is not the main event for today. We have to get into Trez Mala, who, once we get into, we may never talk about Ty again. You have no idea, Moody. You have no idea. This is a guy who, I'm not kidding you, actually believes the moon is hollow and full of government agents.
March at every pride. So if you're trying to say that everybody is offended by this word, keep that same energy when you end up at a pride and you see the Dyke March, and go let the Dykes know that they are not allowed to identify as Dykes. So then that turned into this whole thing where she was like, well, it's still very offensive to lesbian. And it's like, you don't you don't speak for everybody. And plus, you're not even a lesbian. The girl I was talking to was not a lesbian. Well, then that's when she tried to be like, well, technically I'm questioning. And I was like, so.
You tell a story like this, and you're just like, and then one girl did, and then the other girl said, and then she wasn't even a lesbian. So it's like, we're not invested in this at all.
You haven't even figured it out, but you're arguing with me who's been around forever. And I know so many lesbians. I know so many trans people. I mean, I really have lived an LGBT life, even though people try to constantly take that away from me because
no one tries.
I should vote, or I say things that I shouldn't necessarily say. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't mean that I'm not LGBT. That doesn't mean that I haven't had the life experiences and met the people that I've met. You can't take that away from me just because I say something you don't agree with. And a lot of people do agree with the things I'm saying when it comes to LGBT. They're just not as vocal about it because they don't feel like arguing. They don't feel like being shouted down. But a lot of us aren't bothered by the words that other people use. Like me, I identify as a fag. Some people think I do that to be inflammatory. I don't at all. I identify as a fag because when I grew up, we were fags, they were fags, and I didn't realize I was a fag, or I didn't want to accept that I was a fag, which I shouldn't say realize because I knew. I just didn't want to accept it. I wasn't ready to actually make that my reality. Plus, I grew up in a smaller town.
I mean, so you have a history. An admitted history of not being able to deal with reality. I mean, this guy, I can't believe he doesn't see some sort of therapist, because this is a guy who is like moody, he's so self-centered, right? This is a guy who you have a real problem with reality. You know that, and it's weird that you can see it so clearly in other things. So many I and me sentences, right? Yeah. It's narcissism, trezed, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it's bad, man. To be this blinded by your own horseshit. He started the show by saying he's got another bruise on his cheek from a needle. It's just you're constantly bruised and oozing out of holes in your face because of the constant things you're trying to do to look good. And it's my brows are so puffed up looking so good. If only underneath my eyes it wasn't oozing out pus and blood. Can't wait till I get healed up. The swelling goes down, so the swelling goes up. It's like, well, which do you want?
You know, well, not a small town, but like a smaller community. And so, like, you know, one day I just owned who I was, and it's a fag, and that's what it is. So, you know, I'm not gonna go backwards in my thinking, and now because you're offended by these particular words and you think nobody should use.
That's the other thing is like any road he takes, any path he chooses with his logic or thinking, to go back and rethink, you know, and maybe change your mind and become enlightened and educated, that to him is literally going backwards. You know, it's like Josh Denny going, gay people are born gay. I'm not going to go backwards in my thinking to reevaluating that and consider that they might not be. Like that, why would I go backwards? You know, I've already moved past that in my mind, so I'm solving some of the world's other problems now. I've already solved being born gay. Yeah, you're born gay. So why would I go backwards? And that's how he is like, I'm a fag. It's like, well, that word offends people the same way you like don't want to wear a mask, but you do it now, you know, because it's just like for other people in a society. Why would I go backwards? I'm a fag. Yeah, but that word is, you know, you're like the same, like I know you're not sensitive and nothing bothers you, but that bothers other people. So just like out of decency for being a person, could you go back and like, why would I go back? I'm a fag. It's like, I feel like we're circling this a lot now, going over and over, but I'm a fag. It's like, okay.
Use them. Now suddenly I'm going to start getting offended and acting out of character for what's my normal comfort level at this point. Like, I don't care about other people's words, and I'm not looking to other people to validate me. Like, that's one thing they kept telling me on Twitter, because I ended up going back and forth with quite a few people on that particular thread, which I didn't mind because I felt like they really needed to be educated. And since most of them were identifying as allies, I wanted to let them know, like, this isn't your job as an ally. Like, technically you're not helping. What you do is you make people not want to learn or not want to accept something that's different because you are so not willing to bend. And it's like, that's what a lot of things are about right now. When you have people that do have open minds, like most people I deal with, and I do deal with a lot of people in a lot of more
guys, I deal with a lot of people. So trust me when it comes to people, I deal with them.
Areas or places where they're not necessarily the most well-versed in LGBT. A lot of those people, when I talk to them after the shows or when, you know, I'm dealing with them online afterwards, they're actually very open to a lot of things. There's just certain things that they either don't understand or certain lines that they have, and it's okay for people to have their lines. It's okay for people to be like, okay,
oh, how nice
like,
of you.
I'm fine with all of this. I'm fine with your pronouns. I'm fine with
no, that's very nice.
The way that you identify.
Yeah, Moody, we were talking about a Thai bingo. If we could get that going, that might be a fun.
The fact that I don't necessarily think.
It's when he tells us he's unbothered, contradicts himself within 5 minutes.
And then suddenly now that person is
can't remember somebody's name.
Difference
talks to his dog.
Transphobic.
Get a Facebook group going. We can think of something.
There are biological differences. You know, it's just what it is. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to take hormones. So it's not like anybody's trying to bash you.
Gets a scar on his face. Mentions surgery.
Just say, like,
asks for money.
And the way you see it and the way I see it is the way I see it. And eventually,
we'll get a Facebook group going. I think it's the best way to get everybody to contribute to it.
Or the different governing bodies of the different athletic organizations that are in charge of whatever it is we're debating, and it gets decided by people that are not always smarter than us, but
I mean,
that's what they do. There was also a tweet not too long ago that this girl put out where she was like, you know, if you won't date trans women or you don't think dating trans women is for you, then you're basically it's basically that because you're transphobic and you don't see trans women as women. And it's just like, that's the word. You're not helping right now. Like,
yeah, that's a great point. That's a good point, Winebox. He literally last month was begging for money to help with his car, fixing the AC. but we know that he had plastic surgery or Botox or whatever the week before that, and he just got more this week. It's like, you know, what do you have, a subscription prepaid? Like, wow. Oh, fuck, man.
Because now people are feeling like, okay, so in order to accept this, I have to say that I'm okay with dating a trans person and even be okay with dating a trans person, because maybe even if you call it lady dick or girl dick is another one I've heard, like maybe that's doing something for the branding on your end, but to a lot of people I know, that just sounds kind of weird, and like it's cool if you want to be different and stuff like that, but you got to accept not everybody's into lady dick or girl dick. Some people don't want it.
I mean, imagine tackling these issues with your podcast. He's like, I was on Twitter the other day and a woman tweeted that if you won't date a, by the way, this is what he just said. It took him 18 minutes to say it, but I can get it out in 2 sentences. I was on Twitter the other day and there was a woman who tweeted that if you won't date or aren't attracted to a trans person, you're pretty much transphobic. And I'm sorry, but some people just aren't attracted to it. It's like, so that's what he said. 2 sentences right there. Boom. Nailed it. Stuck to the quota. But imagine him being like, this isn't like a celebrity or something he saw. This is a person on Twitter. Imagine me being like, I was on Twitter the other day, and a guy said the moon landing was faked. It's like, yeah, anything you want to search for on Twitter, someone has said it. Imagine getting all spun out about it, you know, and like having to run to your, like, guys, someone mischaracterized what a transphobic person is on Twitter. And I'm sorry, but it's like, he's always sorry, you know. I'm sorry, but I don't care who gets up. It's like, okay, well, we're all sorry that you're sorry. We're standing by.
Dick. Like, they don't care what gender it's attached to. They're just like, I don't want dick. You know, not everybody wants dick. And I think that that's like a good analogy for like LGBT and the way that people within the community sometimes treat people that haven't had the exposure. It's kind of like the first time you ever took a dick, right? Like, some of you bitches have been throwing it back for years. So you forgot the first dick you ever took may not have even been a starter dick. Like, you know, maybe it was a big dick, and at first you couldn't take all of that dick. It had to go, you know, like,
oh my
a
God.
little bit. Maybe your knees buckled and it, like, you punched a wall and you were like, I don't want to do this. I'm not cut out for this. But then, you know, as you became more and more comfortable with yourself, she just set herself free, and you were ready to be fucked in the asshole. And that's what America is going through. Like,
whoa, listen to him get all passionate. Now he's excited.
it's all coming, and they know it's all coming. And their knees are buckling a little bit sometimes when you really force it.
Like, he really does talk like an old gay aunt.
I don't know if that was the best analogy or not, but it was fun for me. I mean, like, I am becoming the king of TMI, and it's not anything I try to do. It's just like, you know, and I don't even think about sex. Well,
I'm the king of TMI. It's like, yes. The correct amount of information we would like about Ty Rivera is 0. And the amount that you provide is 100%. There's nothing you don't shut the fuck up about
sex the way a lot of people do. Like, one time I got in a huge argument with the guy that I was dating because
one time I got in an argument.
I told him, you know, like, we had broken up, and then his big thing was like, you know, have you slept with anybody else? Because we were talking about possibly getting back together. And I was like, I don't really feel comfortable answering that question, which of course means that I was. And then he was like, oh my God, I can't believe that you would fuck somebody else that quickly and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, 1, I fuck. And 2, the other thing is, like, to me, sex is like eating. Like, you know, I'm not gonna not eat because we're not together, or because we broke up, or because we're on a break, or whatever is going on.
Again, like, imagine explaining this to people like it's new information in 2020. This is fundamentally his whole issue is like, you're working with old material, bro. It's like, everyone in the world has had these thoughts and feelings and processed this eons ago. And you're just now going like, I broke up and then I was going to get back together with somebody. And then we're like, well, have you slept with anybody new? And I'm like, oh. It's like, it's the most basic shit. And then he like frames it in like, I don't care who gets mad at me for this. It's like, whoa, way to go out on a limb for saying that you need food, shelter. Like, I cannot follow how he got to this point, and I've been listening the entire time. Exactly.
You know, I still need to eat, and I still need to have sex, and I still need to...
We know.
things I do, and he was like, that's not the same, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we look at things differently. And so, you know, obviously, I'm single now, so slide in them DMs, just playing.
No, he's not.
No.
By the way, no, he's not.
Botherinas. And the botherinas are not the slide in your DMs type. Like, a lot of people that listen to me are straight and also female and also, well, it's weird. Like, it's kind of like...
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot. I'm like, I question any straight dude who's like into you. Let me say that again. I question any straight man who's like, what's Ty Rivera up to? I need to hear his podcast. You know, aside from me, because I'm bringing it to the masses. So I, you know, endure this. Also, this is mania at its best. We're loving it. We're loving it.
You know, well, you know who you are. So, you know, it's like nobody that I'm trying to fuck. They're not on my platforms like that. Well, there's a lot of flirting in my Instagram stories because if you guys haven't seen, I'm naked on the Instagram stories all the time. So, like, if there's a...
He calls it naked on the Instagram stories. You know you're not allowed to be naked on Instagram. But it's like, again, it's the same photo. It's the same angle. The same pose, the same background, the same mirror every time. It's like when you see people with an Instagram like this, it's a fucking breakdown. It's a delusion. Okay, it's a compulsive behavior. This guy every other day has to take a photo nude, topless, nude with a smiley laughy over his dick. You know, a sticker. But same angle, same look, same pose, same room, same background, same mirror, same lighting. Over, as if we need an update, as if we want to watch an old tree wither and die before our eyes. Like, we get it. We know that you don't own a shirt. Bananas.
place that people flirt with me, it probably would be Instagram. Well, not probably, it would be
Look at him.
Instagram. But, you know, it's like, whatever. Like, and that's the other thing, you know, like, people make such a big deal of sex and they...
Look at it. Like he's fighting these he's looking around the room. You know what I mean? He's like, get off my back for Instagram. Get off my back about this. I'm sorry that I'm a fag. It's like, no one's fighting you. Who are you coming at? You know? Like, who are you mad at? Like, nobody's... People aren't mad. Ugh, I flirt with people on Instagram. Ugh, like, get off my back about it. It's like, no one's upset. Nobody's upset.
Make it seem like you're such a dirty person for having sex, but if you go and get tested regularly and you're taking care of yourself, and it's not even a thing, you know, it's just a part of having a fun life. Like, that's one thing I think a lot of people are really, really missing right now. Is
Of course. Then look, this is another move. Like, how many little weird narcissistic moves are there? He's like, so on the one case, he's like, I have sex. I'm sorry. I like sex. Like, fuck you guys. Like, be mad if you want. I have sex. And we're all like, no, we all like sex. Nobody's mad at you for having sex. You know, even if I don't like sex, like, I don't have a problem with you having sex. And then he spins it. And he's like, that's the thing is, like, I think sex is fun. And a lot of people aren't out there living their best life and having sex. And so now it's a unique thing that he's doing right. So now it's like, You know, I think that you're mad at me for having sex, which we're not, because you're not out there having sex. And it's like, yeah, we are. Like, everyone's having sex, and no one's mad at you for you having sex. But if you spin that the other way, you get two pieces of drama to complain about. So now, no one being concerned with it and everyone also partaking turns into everyone's upset at you about it, and the reason they're upset is because they're jealous because they don't know how to live their best lives and they're not getting laid. This is like when like a lesbian doesn't like a boy in school. He's just like, she just needs to get dicked right. It's like, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, she just hasn't had your dick yet. That's what it is. It's like, oh, so instead of being right twice and reading the room, you're gonna just be wrong twice and be a hero? Cool.
Fun in their lives. And just because you've got a social distance and you can't be out at all the places that you usually go out to doesn't mean that you can't have a fun life. Like, I think a lot of people get the idea.
Tell us again how you went to the federal building.
With strangers a lot more than I'm out with strangers. Even when I'm out, a lot of times I have a core group that I hang out with, and that's the exposure that I'm getting is the people that are around.
This is what losers say all the time too. Like, I'm sorry, I hang out with my core, my squad. It's like, you have 3 other mentally ill people who can tolerate you because they can't understand what you are. The rest of us with like real, like, I can't tell you how many comics a day I giggle with about you. like nobody, you know, with their head bolted on straight is thinking you're cool and hanging with your squad.
Around me. And like I said, I already don't like people that close to me, so I keep the social distancing going pretty well for myself, you know, so I kind of enforce that. I've told people at the grocery store outright, social distance. You know, when they've been too close, one girl was like, "Excuse me?" And I was like, "Social distance." And then she was like, "Oh," and then she backed up. That's what I need.
Okay, well, that's not like that's not what we're saying to each other. You know, that's not how. So study the humans again and try again. When people get too close to you in a store, we're not going, social distance, social distance. What we're doing is going like, well, what we're doing is just stepping away ourselves and not being a rude piece of shit. You know? But you could go, hey, could you stay a little further back from me? You know? Anything that's like a complete thought or sentence, not just a tag that only you know what means. You're standing in the middle of a store with a mask half off your face and cat eyes in your head with you know, Cabbage Patch dyed hair. You're 3'8". You're 69 years old, and you're standing in the middle of the produce section going, social distance, social distance. It's like, oh, he heard a word on the news and he's repeating it. Social distance, social distance. You're just yelling at the world, social distance. That's not. Hi, we're using words, Ty. Try it. Come on. Social distance. Oh, cool.
I need back it up. You see the little 6-foot marker? That's where you need to be. You know who I hate, though? I'm going to tell you.
Who knew that on this show he'd be telling people how to fucking be safe during coronavirus? And last week he was like, who died?
I hate the people that are like, how is it this virus can't go more than 6 feet, not 5'11"? And it's like, here's the deal. The CDC and the WHO decided that it was 6 feet because it's probably really 4 feet, but they knew you goons don't know how to listen. And so, you know, even...
Wow, he's so dumb, he even has this backwards. He's so dumb. So, like, just real quick, everybody knows that, like, a cough or yelling or laughing, any sort of, like, really highly kinetic, energized... expulsion of breath is can send particles over 30 feet they've seen, but it's just about the long tail, you know what I mean? It's like, well, 6 feet is good enough for 92% of the droplets will fall before 6 feet. You know, and you might not get to 93% until you get to 10 feet. So you don't really get that much for almost doubling it. So this is how they come up with these guidelines. And I think the actual thing is 2 meters, which would be a little more. But anybody going like, really, the virus can't go 5'11", but it can go 6 feet. It's like anybody doing that again is just, again, not interested in facts or the truth. They're interested in winning an argument. So like I won't even have that talk with anybody. But him, you know, like they know it's 4 feet that the virus can go, but they tell us 6 feet, so we're double safe. It's like, I like, why would you believe anything this man said ever? Like he thinks that the reason they tell us 6 feet is because the virus really goes 3 or 4, but they're just being safe on the safe side. Whoa. Didn't you talk about this last time? Is he listening to it and retelling it like it was his original thought? No, I mean, he's getting wrong what he's saying, so.
4 feet is an estimate, so they said, okay, well, if we think it's 4 that it can spread, then let's make it 6, and then hopefully these goons stay 4 away, and it turns out to be 3. Like, that's the way that things work. I mean, like, some of you guys,
He knows.
Your side is the worst part. You know, I can't take when people are, like...
Here he is. When people, it's Ty Rivera and people. You know, these are two different entities, and they're opposing always. So you got to hear what Ty and what the people want. You know, I get so sick of people. It's like, oh yeah, us too.
Unwilling to see anything past their own like belief system or accept that nobody is perfect. You know, like I was on a thread not too long ago, and this lady was like, you know, that's what I love about Donald Trump is he cannot be bought. And I was like, can we at least acknowledge, like, I get tired of people for not, that's the whole reason that I could not vote for Hillary no matter how much anybody wanted me to, was because nobody was willing to admit that A, she was a terrible candidate, or a lot of people that were on the left weren't.
I mean, listen to that sentence. The reason I am moody, God, I mean, like, I've been saying this since the beginning, but Moody's right. If you were to make a word cloud and kind of do how many times he talks about certain things, the word I and me and people and nobody and everybody, these words. The reason I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton was because nobody could admit she was a horrible candidate. So it's like, break this down backwards. It's like nobody will admit Hillary was a horrible candidate. Like almost everybody thinks that, both Democrats and Republicans, that she wasn't the right person to win. People like Hillary, but she was also one of the most hated candidates. A lot of people admitted she wasn't a good candidate. Second of all, the reason I didn't vote for Hillary is because nobody would admit she was a bad candidate. It's like, until somebody admits she's a bad candidate, I won't vote for her. That's what you just said. Like, do you understand how crazy this guy, like what? Like, that's literally what he just said. The reason I didn't vote for Hillary is because nobody would admit she was a bad candidate. What?
Willing to accept that. They thought she was a gift from God.
See, nobody was willing to accept it. They thought she was a gift from God. And by the way, he's using all this wrong information to justify why he didn't vote for her. It's like, oh, so like if nobody will admit leprechauns are real, you won't vote for Biden? Like, what does one have to do with the other? I didn't vote for Hillary because nobody admits she was a bad candidate. It's like, first of all, nobody. Second of all, that's the reason you wouldn't vote for someone? Like, what?
And also,
the reason I wouldn't buy Taylor Swift's new album is because people wouldn't admit that on her last song, the chorus was a little phoned in. It's like, that's why you're not buying her new, like, the weird rationale, but like.
oh, they couldn't acknowledge that there were certain things that she had done wrong or that she had.
Nobody would acknowledge that. You remember.
The best. And I was like, well, how do you expect me to go into this with that mindset? Like a lot of the people that I knew that were supporting Trump, and I know there are the hardcore, the religious zealots that really want to believe he's been sent by God or whatever, but most of the people I were dealing with were like, yeah, he's a flawed candidate, he's a flawed human being, but at the same time, he's better than the alternative. And so I can always accept when people are at least willing to own and be like, okay, well.
Again, he's on a pedestal. He's a God figure. And again, I looked down at the two groups and I decided I condone one of it's no one knows what you're talking about.
This is the problem, because if not, when it came to Hillary, if she had been elected, I feel like a lot more stuff would have flown under the radar that wasn't going to serve us as the American people. So when those are my choices, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely going with the person that nobody trusts and everybody's going to keep an eye on, as opposed to the person that people see as a blessing and are maybe going to get away with more than.
Okay, for the sake of time, I'm going to start doing a little scrubbing through this, because we could sit here all day and circle the mania that it is him. I promise you we have something better to get to today, okay? We're going to move past Ty and go on to Trez. But we will scrub through this. And by the way, we are not even halfway through it.
Get away with, especially when we know Marla Maples, he was because she was his mistress, like lived through that. Or so watching the shift and watching the way that he went from being like fun, like pop culture, and he was never, well, he was an icon to some people.
Just mumbling.
It plays out, I'm personally voting for Donald Trump again. So if that makes you not want to like me, not want to support me,
Right. So again, like, do you notice this pattern of like, I'm doing this and I know people are going to get mad and I know people won't like me and people aren't going to support me. It's like, hold on, you need people to support you voting for Trump? Like, why do I have to support who you vote for? Who gives a fuck who, like, I've never seen so many arrows in someone's mind pointed at themselves. Maybe once or twice before, but this is up there.
To be canceled. Let's make sure we get that out there now, because I don't want to be dealing the one thing sorts of stuff. I did shows that were around it. I did panels about it.
Here he goes.
I did a lot of stuff.
I did a lot of stuff.
When it's like,
can you imagine?
You didn't know? Okay, but if that's how little you pay attention, then you're not a real supporter anyway. So did I really lose anything? Did I just lose like one click on Facebook or whatever, or one, not even click, just a person, a number for no reason? It's like when it comes to canceling, that's why I always say, like, you can't cancel what you never subscribe to. Like, it's
right. And you're about to find that out with your Patreon. I mean, this guy, he tried to get Kool-Aid in trouble. He panicked. This is one of the most epic panics I've ever seen from someone. He, out of nowhere last week, just like panic posted, this guy, Kool-Aid, Alex Ansel, is trying to attack me. And let's not forget, a lot of people were mad at him one time because he brought a pedophile to a party. Anyway, I can't say more about it because there might be pending legal action with something else he's involved in. That was Ty talking about this show. Like, Ty has on the DL threatened legal action against me, against this show. And I think that's a hoot. But him panicking and trying to like go out and grab Kool-Aid and bring Kool-Aid down with him was so fucking funny. So I think he's kind of referencing that here. But he's talking about the friends who are kind of turning on him. But so he can't go at Patrick. He goes instead at Alex. Yeah, that's exactly what he did. By the way, and what he said about Alex doesn't even make any sense or have any relevance to anything. I don't know what happened with Alex, whatever. Like, I don't know, but I know it was hashed out and settled. And, like, it's old of him to bring up with a scrambling. I think he brought it up just to say And now he's doing something else to me because he thinks Alex is like giving me all of this inside information. Hey, it's everybody who's giving me it. I have so many comics messaging me shit about you. You can't go after them all, dummy. Okay? So take your gay anger somewhere else. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with. He's threatening legal action. Grow up.
It's not the way it works. But you know, I try my best to stay open.
A guy who like has money trouble, holes in his cheeks, you know, not a functioning air conditioner, can't decide if he wants to be online or not, can't decide if he has too much time or not enough time. This guy is telling you what he condones and what's okay, what he has time for. It's like, come on, man. Like,
I know that sometimes I do make people mad, and then, but also it's just par for the course. Like, how can you have opinions in this day and age and not make somebody mad? Like, you know, if I
the bombs he's dropping
to the left, then there'd be a lot of people that currently like me now.
Let's scrub through.
Kettle black, but really, those are people that don't know anything about me. Because I'll have a little fun debating or whatever on social media, but I'm not holding on to a lot of stuff, and I don't think about people that much. Like, that's one of the main things with me.
He does not think about people. He constantly knows what they're going to do and how they're going to react to everything he does, but he doesn't really think about them that much. He knows what's wrong with them and what they've experienced that he hasn't, or what he's experienced that they haven't. You know, he loves to talk down and shout at you that you're wrong and tell you how to do things, but he doesn't really think about you that much.
It's like all of this stuff, I let it go. And at the end of the day, it is what it is, and whatever happened, happened. But I'm not worried about anybody in everyday life. Like I said, I lived my life in the real world. So you'll have a little fun on Facebook, troll a little bit. And by trolling, it's not even trolling. Sometimes it's
Moody heard it too. I like Moody because he hears a lot of the things. When he started doing that bit a minute ago, where he kind of like, I don't know. And I know sometimes but then he couldn't even do it. He couldn't even have a real moment where he admitted any kind of weakness. So he had to flip that into, I just don't care, you know? Like, it's just like he had to flip it into like, okay.
Like being like, let's not forget about this, because I am willing to admit that this is going on my side, but then you pretend like that's not happening on your side, and so let's make sure that we're all having an honest conversation right now. And
remember, this is a guy who blocks everyone who's tried to get him to have an honest conversation. Like, can you imagine? This is a guy who's like, I won't stop calling myself fag no matter who it offends. I don't care. I'm too past that to go backwards. And he's just like, I just want to have an honest conversation and learn to be flexible to people's feelings, because that's what it's about right now. I ain't changing anything.
most people seem to get that, even have fun with it. They poke back at me every once in a while, because every once in a while, I'll post something that seems a little off or whatever, where they're not getting it. And
Every once in a while.
Definitely deal with you poking at me a little bit, you know, and asking me some questions or wanting to know. I don't deal with the people that are at all passive aggressive, though, or just share GIFs all the time. If your entire argument or debate consists of GIFs, I'm not doing it with you. I just don't have time to sit here and be like, oh, well, that's a funny GIF. Let me pick one now. It's like, no, let's have a conversation. Let's actually use our words.
You block people and you type like a 14-year-old texts. You know what I mean? Like, you're not interested in using your words, bro.
Different, and let's see if maybe we can come to a little bit.
You don't want to even talk on your own podcast. We have to like force it out of you. Give you a shot of B12. He pronounces them as GIF. Oh my God, yeah, get him. That's the worst thing about him.
We can just agree to disagree, live to fight another day. But if you try to go on and on about something,
GIF is a peanut butter, Ty.
like, I really didn't care that much. Like, I put something out there, and it's not the hill I'm gonna die on, because there's no hills around me, and I'm not ready to die yet. So all of it's just stuff to talk about, you know. It's
Listen to the depression.
people get toxic on Facebook sometimes. Like, one of my friends he was like accusing people of using coded language, and like some of the people he was talking to, you could tell by their responses they were true hillbillies, and it was like, yeah, this person isn't sophisticated enough to be talking in coded language right now. There are no dog whistles going on. This person just posted something that you didn't necessarily agree with, but also at the same time arbitrarily was not racist. You know, like there was one where a guy shared a meme of the man, Daryl is his first name, and I can't, but he talks about, and
Skipping.
I think I was at the 1 year anniversary for his show, but I can't remember. 1 year anniversary show, or people that have done things that have been wrong enough that I really wouldn't want to be around them or trust them again, but that's pretty rare. Usually it's just kind of misunderstanding stuff, and once people accept what their role was in the misunderstanding, then I'm fine with it, you know.
Did you hear that? Like, usually I get along with everybody. Again, that's been like a classic line of his. Can you imagine? He's like, but when I do have problems with people, usually we squash it. Once they admit that what their role in the problem was, I take them back. I let them in. Once they admit, you know, it was all them, I take them back, you know. I'm a benevolent guy. I'm a good leader.
Because I usually know what my role is in things, even sometimes being a...
Yeah, once they recognize what their role in the problem or the issue was, then we're all good. Because I'm super woke and aware. So I know what my problems were and what my problems are. So once they realize what their problem is, we're all good. Because I'm usually very tuned in.
Sometimes I can be a little more hair trigger about certain things because I'm just like, yeah, I've been through this before. I know how it works, and this one is really going to get on my nerves. So let's not give this a lot of time at all. You know, like, let's just accept that you fucked up. Because when it comes to, like, you know, my discrepancies with people or my differences with people, usually that comes from being on the road, because I don't hang out with people that I don't like, but every once in a while I'll go on the road with somebody that's newer or said they wanted to go on the road, and so I'll take them. And then
imagine Ty Rivera inviting you on the road with him and accepting. Imagine voluntary. Like, if I had a gig with this guy in Tennessee, I would suggest we go our separate. Like, of course he'll drive. I'll meet you there. I'll take an airplane. You know. A lot of times I go out with comics, and of course everyone's newer than me. You know what I found out, guys? I'm pretty sure that Ty has only been doing comedy for about 11 years. This is 100% true, which means a lot of the comics who are shivering and shaking in their boots when it comes to like talking shit about this guy, who is a complete loser, by the way. He should like that language. That's Trump language. Also, he is a fat pig. No, kidding. I forgot what I was fucking saying. What was my fucking point? Where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, I think he's only been doing comedy 11 years. He has not been doing this long. I really thought, I had heard he was like an old road dog. No. He started comedy. He popped on Comedy Central right away. Like I said, I called this because there's a few comics like this. His comedy is like day one basic development set comedy. And he's never moved on from that. It's like he did well with it, and now he can't stop talking about being a gay and not caring what you think. And 11 years later, it's like everyone's neighbors with a gay and doesn't really think about it. And he's still parading around the same old tired character where he's the sassy Republican gay saying sassy Republican gay shit. You know, and we're all supposed to be shocked, but we're not anymore because we've all, you know, been on the same collective calendar and moved on. In his mind, because he pays so little attention to the world around him, he's still a novelty. He's still And I know y'all don't really understand it because y'all don't know gays. But I'm gay. If you didn't notice, I'm gay and I think a little bit different. And I say things a little bit offensive. And I'm a little, he thinks he's like the only guy on YouTube is edgy. Remember he said like, I stopped doing YouTube because they change the way monetization works and now edgy guys like me can't make money. It's like, what are you talking about? You know, Logan Paul hunts for bodies and sells drugs.
Professional behavior will start happening. And I'm like, you know, some of this I would be all right with because it would just be your business. But the parts that I have a problem with, I really have a problem with because it does affect my life. It does affect my schedule. It does affect when we get to the show. There are things that are sometimes affected by people's unprofessional behavior that they don't see. And because we're in stand-up comedy, a lot of times people will be like, well, this is supposed to be fun, and we're supposed to be comedians, and we're supposed to have fun. And it's like, yeah, to a degree, we certainly are. But at the same time, we're also professionals working a job right now. We've got a time, we got to be there. We got to make sure that we're there safely. You know, like all these things do.
Yeah, imagine having to drive fucking 9 hours to perform for 40 people one night. Guys, we have a responsibility. You know, if we don't show up, 36 people will be disappointed.
So it's not like I just pick reasons to be mad at people or annoyed.
Motherfucker.
And then, you know, sometimes people do have to put up with my quirks when I'm on the road. You know, they're like, I have to put up with
sometimes.
I have to put up with mine. So it's like a balance of like.
So again, just to recap his theory on balance, anybody who says anything I don't like, blocked. I don't have time for it. But people need to put up with my quirks.
Like filtering out the stuff that's actual bullshit and like dealing with the stuff.
All right, skipping forward again.
Quirks and stuff. Sort of like, okay, well, this particular, what you would call sober is like, but I like drinking, you know. But I don't mind when, you know, people that drink more or are younger.
Listen to this.
Like drinking more, drink when we're on the road.
Imagine being like, I don't mind being around people who drink more or less, and I don't mind being around people who are younger or older than me. Oh, you don't mind? Cool.
Sometimes I miss drinking, you know, like I miss eating bad food.
Like, imagine this, but can you imagine this being a show?
They're funny, so it's like they're funny, so they'll be great that way. But what you got to know is they might run up kind of a bar tab because there's some people that I know that have really done that to a point where, like the bookers.
I know a guy who ran up a bar tab.
Have been mad about it, you know, like there's one particular person that I think is so funny and so great, and he helped me out when we were starting out, and I still try to help him out where I can, but I just can't recommend him.
He helped me out when we were starting out, and I still try to help him. Do you see how he frames everything? Like
stuff because
oh, thanks for the follow there, button rings. I love a good button ring. You're all great.
Him really piss off club owners because he's on stage and he's like, all the drinks are free when I'm on stage, and so he'll just ask for a bunch of shots, and by the end of the show sometimes he's completely drunk on stage and can't even do his job or really close it out the way he needs to. Patreon, my friend Chris Doran is helping me. If you aren't familiar with Chris Doran,
here we go. His Patreon.
We're gonna figure things out on the Patreon, but
can somebody find this if it's up yet?
On things that I can actually build, on things that I can actually excel with, you know, like anything from the past, I'm not really trying to deal with on that level. Like I don't care about old school arguments or any of that stuff. Like if I don't like you, I just don't hang out with you. I don't fuck with you, as the kids would say. And like I feel like that should be the same for you. Like, you know, sometimes I hear that people are like talking about me or like
sometimes I hear like people are talking about me. I heard through the grapevine. What does he want? Can you imagine?
Telling stories about when, you know, we went on the road together and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, you can do that if you want to. I don't mind.
There we go. That is definitely about this podcast. Somebody's telling stories about when you went on the road with them. It's like, yeah, everyone is. Everyone is. We've heard what a creep you are, dude.
bother me. I don't mind having the stories out there. But the only thing that I usually think about is, wouldn't you rather move forward with your life?
No.
Would you rather worry about what it is you...
No, we would rather uncover evil deeds from a bad, bad man. Oh, this is great.
You're doing or what it is you have coming up. It seems like a waste of time to put all of your effort and in all of your...
This is what we're doing though. Like, more people are watching this now than will hear your podcast. So like, this is what we're doing. You started it. You were like a tornado, ripping through Oklahoma, tearing everything up. And you bumped into my house and ripped that one up and lied about me. And I'm just not moving on. Not moving on. I'm not moving on. I mean, I'm moving on, but I'm like, how would you guys say it? Are you not? Is he not? Have I moved on? And he's not moving on. He's the one who's stuck in the past, and we've all moved. We're heading to, we're on a, if the train tracks are on the headed to, like, if Mars is the future and Earth is the destined, if the origin country, slingshot around the moon, is he the one who's moving? I've not moved, so don't come at me with that lie. I'll never be. Got him.
Like creative juices into a person that doesn't think about you, doesn't care about you, doesn't want anything to do with you,
What does he want?
I also don't get in the habit of...
Listen to that. Listen to that frustration. There it is. There it is. He knows it's a fight he can't win, so he is refusing to pick up his weapon. He knows he's caught in so many lies. He's still trying to play it off as don't care, not involved. Find his Patreon. We have to have that. Somebody please look that up. And that was so telling right there. I got to back that up because he just, that little horse whinny.
They're delusions, so when people do choose to do, or like talking about me, or like telling stories about when, we went on the road together and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, you can do that if you want to. I don't mind at all. It doesn't bother me. I don't mind having the stories out there. But the only thing that I usually think about is, wouldn't you rather move forward with your life? Wouldn't you rather worry about what it is you're doing or what it is you have coming up?
No.
It seems like a waste of time to put all of your...
And also, what a weird change you've made. I'm sorry, Ty Rivera. I thought you were the guy who last week panic posted on Facebook about how someone else was trying to get you and how you can't really talk about it because it's a pending legal action. I've received no phone calls from a lawyer. I've received no correspondence, communication from a lawyer. Where's the action? Where's the pending legal action? I'm here still saying you are a bad man. You're not a nice guy. Your comedy is not good. People shouldn't be listening to you. People shouldn't work with you. People shouldn't get in a car with you. It's not safe nor air conditioned. And you're running around telling people that you're not worried about it. Well, I heard that you were getting some lawyers. So I'm telling you to come get me. Show this video to your lawyer. Have him come on down. Get me. He said I was a bad man. He said I was bad. Can you prove you're not bad? Can you prove you're good? What does that even mean? Have you even talked to a lawyer? I'm going to guess you haven't, because you don't know how this works. Okay? I've been on the internet for a goddamn long time. And just because you're trying to figure out how to use your goddamn sidekick for the first time and set up a Patreon and try to do something online, don't expect the rest of us to cower in fear at your vague reference to legal representation or some sort of action you may be taking. Because I would love to hear the audio tape of your lawyer laughing you out of the office. Yeah, he was mean. He said I'm bad. Get him. Guess what? Nobody cares, Ty. And by the way, I hope your lawyer tells you he can do something while he takes your money and you have to forego another Botox injection. God forbid.
like effort and in all of your like creative juices into a person that doesn't think about you, doesn't care about you, doesn't want anything to do with you, you know? Like,
Oh, we want something to do.
also don't get in the habit of
Here he goes. That was it. That's the win. That's the sigh winning I wanted to hear.
telling people how to deal with their delusions, you know? So when people doesn't care about you, doesn't want anything to do with you, you know? Like, but, you know, I don't get in the habit.
That's the same explanation of breath that we used to hear from Nick. Whatever.
Habit of telling people how to deal with their delusions, you know? So when people
Our delusions. This is in his mind, like that. That's where he's coming from. Like, oh, I can't help people if they're delusional. It's like, honey.
choose to do that, I just feel like, okay, well, that's for you, and you can continue to do that. I personally, though, am going to be doing things that will help me out as a person and get
Wait, what is that? Are you going to be doing online things or setting up a Patreon for 6 people to click on?
me to where I want to be and to the level that I want to be at. Because,
Honey, the level you are going to be at is, like, sadly for the majority of us, you know, the level you're going to be at. Hey, Jack and the Beanstalk, what are you still clinging to? It's over. They've passed. It's you act like Comedy Central's calling next week and going like, "Oh, we've decided it's your turn to do an hour." It's like, no, we've all been spit out the bottom of that machine already. Like, it's not coming back. You're not getting a special. You know, like, I'm just trying to reach the level that it's like, honey, you're on your way down the ladder, okay? Some of the rungs are rotten because they were built in the '06s, the 1906s.
there's certain things that I just
You're doing a lot of swallows too, you know? So that means you're fucking nervous.
don't want anymore. You know, like I said, when it comes to being on the road, I'll do it as much as I have to coming up, but I don't really want to be on the road. And
I thought you were quitting comedy.
that I did Sacramento Saturday. I did Laughs Unlimited in Sacramento.
Oh, here we go.
The way,
40 people.
the way that was supposed to work out was
9 hours each way, 40 people, $20 tickets, 800 total bucket, 3 comics at least. You do the math.
I booked it
You do the math.
in December. And so, you know, in December there was no shutdown. We didn't know anything was going to be going on. And like Jenny wanted me to do it because it's the 40-year anniversary of that show.
He has to explain to us that the pandemic wasn't going on in December. Like, oh yeah, that's a good note.
And Jenny is the owner, and I really do like Jenny, and I like the way she treats comics, and I like the way that she looks at comedy, and I did her podcast at one point.
Hey,
The club-
great speech, Forrest Gump. I was at Laughs Unlimited. I like the way Jenny treats comics. I like the way Jenny sets it up. You run a good club, Jenny. Cool.
podcast. It's the Laughs Unlimited podcast, which I don't remember what it's called, but you can search that online too.
Great plug.
You know, we had a really great conversation, and just, you know, when I'm there, she's always been really nice to me. She headlines me, you know, she's just really great with me. And so,
Like, he talks about himself like he's a difficult animal to fly with. No, they're really good with me. They handle me well. They give me all my shots, make sure my crate is comfortable. She's really good with me. She's great around me. You talk about yourself like an autistic child.
even though the plan was, when I booked it in December, it was like, okay,
So everything's great, but here's a complaint.
I'll put other stuff around it, and then I'll make it so it's worth it to just do the one night.
Here he goes. Here comes the excuse for why he drove 20 hours for $300. And I'm telling you, that might be double what he actually made. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, this, I can't wait to hear this excuse, dummy. You tell me how being a comic works.
There. And then that turned out not to be the way that it worked out because of COVID. You can't really put together a run like you usually would. And so I had to do it as a one-off. So it wasn't like it was lucrative.
Motherfuckers putting together runs.
For me,
It wasn't lucrative at all. It's like, no shit, because we all have brains.
important part was actually being there for somebody that actually has supported me when it comes to stand-up. And so, you know, I had to be there in the way my thinking works, in the way my value system works. I had to be there. And I was glad that I went because I got to see,
You know what, Ty? Fair enough.
what might be the evolution of what becomes live stand-up, which we had headphones on. And
They had headphones and were seated outside, and he's glad he was there because that might become the evolution of stand-up. He's glad he was there on the night it was all conceived. This club came up with everything. I'm glad I got to see that, when new stand-up was born that night at that club. Like, wow, what a brave, touching story.
then you could hear the audience reacting to you through the mic. The audience also had headphones on. We were outside. It was perfectly social distance. They
You could hear the audience laughing through the mic.
weren't like playing. Jenny is not playing with any of those rules. Like every one of the rules and guidelines that they gave her as far as being able to open and stuff like that, she is fully respecting. So it's a real
Yeah, that's another good point. Why does he care about the evolution of stand-up if he's leaving in a year, Also, now he's praising a woman for following the guidelines and the science to the letter. He's like, and Jenny, she does everything great. She makes the people wear masks and stay socially distant, which is really great. It's like last week, it's like, I don't wear masks. Fuck everybody. I don't care about anybody. I hope they all die. I cough on vegetables. You stand for nothing, you fall for everything. Am I right, people?
I think for people to look at, because there's plenty of space between parties, everything's outdoors, people don't have to be close to the stage because I have the mic and it's going directly into their
People don't have to be close to the stage because I have the mic. Yeah, I'd get far too.
headphones. I also have headphones on so I can hear the laughter that's going through the mic too. And so you have to adjust your timing a little bit. But, it's not at all hopeless, and it wasn't at all, to me, such a terrible thing that you can't work around it. So, that was great for me to see because it does get a little bit disappointing sometimes at what you love to do.
Somebody just commented on the SoundCloud. Waiting on that Patreon. Hopefully you can pull yourself from injections and fix the AC in your car with others' money. Oh, got him.
Really an option. And some people, I guess, would be a little confused when I say I don't want to be on the road anymore.
Again, he's always just you know what I love about him is he always anticipates what us dumb plebs are going to think and breaks it down for us. And some people are probably going to be confused by that, so let me go over it.
Say that I love what I do. Well, I love performing like that. I don't know that I would
But I hate comics. I thought you were quitting. Oh, is he about to renege?
want to give up. But being on the road or doing this kind of stand-up where you're on the road as much as I was, especially in the last 2 years, the road.
The road doesn't want you.
Don't feel like I have a lot of that left in me.
You don't.
It's exhausting.
The only thing left in you is Botox and cum, and it's dripping out of your face in holes that were there before you were born and holes that have been put there after.
And so, but I still love the performing. I love especially crowd work or, that kind of person to person and seeing people at their happiest and, all the best parts about
This is like, sorry. Oh, God. That was a bad one for me. This is like a deathbed speech. I really enjoyed seeing the faces on the people. That's what I enjoyed the most. He knows it's over. He knows it's over. Listen to this. The sadness and the reflection. He's just like, yeah, man, I had a good run. I just think this old road dog, it's time to hang up the spurs and see if this guy will let me live in a guest house for 20 more years, rent-free.
stand-up, But then also, like I said, there's the newer comics that are all about cancel culture and what's politically correct and what's acceptable and what's triggering. And that...
A minute ago, nobody could cancel him. You can't cancel anybody anymore.
Write a good joke, and if people laugh, you enjoy that. And, when other comedians do good jokes, even if they're not...
He belongs to the streets. Don't save him. He don't want to be saved. Yeah.
You just accept that they're a good joke because you like doing stand-up, because you love stand-up, because, you like to laugh, because you like seeing people laugh, because you like making people laugh. These are the things that, for stand-up, for me, that are so great about stand-up, you know, is all the happiness, all the laughter, all the like good times, and giving people memories, you know, whether it's their birthday, which I mentioned.
Yeah, he is. This is like
Him happy birthday.
you've fallen off a 12-story building and everything's flashing before you die.
And I know I have a terrible singing voice, and I always hate when I have to kind of do that, or I always hate when I do that kind of stuff. Or
Again, like, can you believe, and wait till you hear Tres Mala, if you think Ty stumbles over himself and can't speak, wait till you hear this Tres Mala. Trip Mala. Ooh, bad 3. Bad 3.
do that kind of stuff because, you know, it's outside of my comfort zone. But
That's the Spanish. That's, if you're bad at Spanish. Tres Mala means bad 3.
force myself to do it, even though I do it in a jokey way. But like Andrew Jacobson is somebody that's really supported me.
Nobody knows who that is.
Blog about this stupid joke that I do because
Nobody knows.
I deserve the full story.
Nobody knows.
That is my first intention and the way that I go at everything.
Bad 3.
A little more in charge of what I do, and even though I stay pretty good at being in charge of what I do, but
You run it, girl boss.
little more in charge of what I do and the direction it goes and the way that I work it. Can you work it?
He said it's. Somebody said it's 3 bad. No. That's not how Spanish works. No. In Spanish, the adjective comes after the noun. Mal. So it's bad 3. And if you're gonna get on board with my new clothing line, bad 3. Verbally vicious productions. Verbally vicious.
Flip it and reverse it. Almost said reserve it. Put my thing down, flip it and reserve it, girl. Anyway, be on the lookout. I'm gonna put the Patreon out soon, and
Please.
so then you guys can make sure I
Be on the lookout.
get your money. There are gonna be a couple tiers for you guys. We'll start off real low, like a $5 tier, and that'll be, you know, Bijou's rent, because that bitch gotta cough some up. You know, I've been paying for her deposits that are non-refundable everywhere that we've lived since we've been together. You know, I make sure we always stay places where she can stay. That little girl has really gotten a free ride for a long time. So if you guys can help her out, because I will evict. That's what you guys don't get, is that Bijou is very cute, but I will evict. So this has been a ranty one, you guys. I hope you liked it, though. So whatever, and everybody stay unbothered.
What's up, everybody?
That is it. That was the new Unbothered. I was the one who posted that comment on the Facebook page. I reversed it unironically. I don't even know what that means. Reserved it unironic. Put my thing down, flip it in reverse. This has been good, guys. We're just getting started here. We're just warming up. Thank you so much. I'm going to go refresh my drink. This would be a great time for you to do so, too. Let me just tell you this. If you haven't joined the Overdose, and a lot of people have this week, thank you. The Thai stuff got him in. If you haven't joined the Overdose, you're going to want to do that, okay? If you're not watching this live, the guy we're going to be talking about next, Tres Mala, makes Ty look, balanced in a way. In a way, he doesn't. In a way, he's kind of a nice guy. And I would like to hang out with him. Bad 3. But, maybe I'll hang out with neither of them. As Winebox Wednesdays has reminded you, if you're watching on Twitch, we'd love you to link up your Amazon Prime account and subscribe. It costs you nothing. It's easy to do. You have to do it every month, though, and it helps out the channel, throws us a little money, and it also gets rid of ads on our channel. And God knows we've been doing some really long broadcasts. It'll save you a lot of that stuff. So link up your Twitch account. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitch. Nobody likes onions. Follow us on Instagram. The stories have been great on Instagram, and you're going to want to watch them because I have real mania. I spend too much time now on my phone. I don't even want to look at my screen time report for this week because the amount of time I've spent just making stories. NL Onions. It sounds like a guy who sells elixirs out of the back of a pickup truck. Dr. NL Onions, not doctor, but NL Onions on Instagram. Join the Overdose, $10 a month. That's what I've been trying to say. This is the one that helps us the most. Join the Overdose, $10 a month. NobodyLikesOnions.com/overdose. Get instant access to all the stuff. You're missing really big chunks of the story if you're just listening to what goes out on the public feed. The Overdose members are getting the full downloads. They're getting the full shows and all the drama. You're gonna wanna get it. Support the show. $10 a month. We never raised the price since we started this in 2006, I believe, is when we started the SABC, which became the Overdose. And it would mean so much, okay? We're back. And I would appreciate you coming back. You know who just re-upped his subscription the other day? And he always buys an annual subscription. Stephen King. Brian King's dad. Do you remember Brian King? He has never unsubscribed from the Overdose, this guy. He always buys an annual subscription. He's a pilot for a major airline, remember? And he's still listening to the show, loves the show. Brian King won't talk to me, doesn't listen to the show, and his dad, huge fan. I consider that kind of a win. I consider that like kind of cucking. Like you came out of this guy's dick, and he thinks I'm good, you know? So what do you know? Would you trust a guy who came out of some other guy's dick? Get real. Join the Overdose. We'll be right back. What we're going to do, reboot the stream so it may drop. We're going to come back with a new show. Don't go anywhere. Stick around.